All right. Alrighty. Ah. Alrighty. Whew. Alrighty. Crack open a Coke. Yeah, what's up, Smell? Yeah, finally, right? Movie review. Finally, that's why I was kind of coming on late. I had to finish the movie. Yeah, but finally got to another movie review. But let's consult the list real quick. Okay. Bada bing. Boom. So this guy. Where's the strike through option? Is it? Nope, I guess. What kind of formatting options do I have here? Well, whatever. Can't change the color? Damn, dude. Notepad is really lacking, huh? Whatever. 7-hour dive? As in, like literal diving? Like you put on your scuba gear and dove? Annoyed my family with my white girl bot music? No, drive. I was gonna say, what the fuck? Hey, who doesn't love white girl bot music? Sounds like they're allergic to a good time. Okay, I'll just put a X here, I guess. Anyway. Yeah. Talk about the movie in a bit. You know, let people trickle in. Good movie though. Gotta say, great movie. Yeah. You know, the interesting thing about biopics is like, well, obviously they're depicting real events, but you know, sometimes they don't lean as heavily into certain themes, you know? Like when we talked about like a work of fiction like The Brutalist, you know, there's a lot more room for the writer to craft their own narrative. You know, you ever watch Casino? I don't think I have. You were the only one in the car vibing. Sometimes you gotta be that guy. The Mellow and Kumquat show? Okay, hang on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Good evening, Kumquat. Right on cue. Speak of the devil. Yeah. Casino's an absolute classic. Yeah, I've definitely heard of it, of course, but I don't know if I've ever seen it. Welcome back to Cumtown with your host Kumquat. Very good. When we say white girl bop music, are we talking about the music as bopping, or do you mean bop as in low quality horror music? Good question. Yeah, let's get some specifics here. What's up, Boogie? How's it going, dog? Perfect timing. Let's go. Now, I always say I'm gonna try to start the stream earlier, but it always just gets later and later, dude. I got a problem. Speaker Kumquat and Ghost Mellow. Okay, I hate where this is going. I hate where this is fucking going. Yeah, God bless America. Blow is a great biopic. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Blow. Later the better. Already we got fucking kickbox. Bots on kick, dude. Starring Johnny Depp. Let's look at the trailer. This is gonna be a weird search. Blow trailer. Have I seen this?
At a time when America was ready to party.
Look, if you really want to score, I got the guy.
Barbie! I don't nickel and dime. You want it or not?
We'll take it.
You know how much money you can make with this stuff back east?
One man knew just what to do about it.
Seems really risky.
Eric, she's a stewardess. They don't check her bags.
I need more. I need more.
Can't believe we're stealing a plane.
How much will you be needing? All of it.
Our Twitch started like a minute delayed. You hate Twitch? Well, you know, you can always watch on YouTube.
Where did you get this stuff?
Colombia.
I can't feel my face.
Senor Escobar wants to see you.
We're going into business together. I want to start right away.
How much bigger can we get?
Sky's the limit. 3 million, I counted it twice. 2.5, I'm sure.
Anyone feel like the timeline is tampered with since COVID? Don't be feeling right? What do you mean?
Where do I put it? Try to close it. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Hello?
Hello,
I'm George.
I know who you are, El Americano.
I'm great at what I do, Dad. I mean, I'm really great at what I do.
Let me tell you something, George. You have been great at anything.
Colombian women are dangerous. Yeah, they are.
Anything.
I bring you in, this is how you pay me back? This is business! Who introduced you to Pablo Escobar? Huh? Me.
Yeah, Penelope Cruz.
Take it easy, George. You have a daughter now.
Are we gonna get split up?
No, don't even say that.
So this is it?
I hope not, Pop.
Yeah, Ray Liotta. Tom Cruise did a Coke movie that's pretty good. The whole, Coke multiverse. Like, time doesn't feel right, things go by too fast, don't remember or feel the moments like I used to. And the people I talk to about this feel the same. You know, I decay. It could just be getting old, man. You know, time moves quicker when you age. A lot of that has to do with, like, you're experiencing life and there are not as many new experiences. And so it's like, it begins to blur together. When you're young, when you're a kid, it's like everything is new, everything is fascinating. You know, you go out into the world and it grasps your attention. You know, everything is a series of firsts. First time in the city, first time going on vacation, first time going to Disney World. As you get older, it's like, you know, there are very few firsts left, for most people in the world. And so it doesn't grasp your attention as much. And so time begins to speed up, becomes more mundane. It's less captivating. Yeah. Yeah, you're a lot more busy, yeah, you know? So, I think it's just getting old, to be honest. Just getting old. Any boomer will tell you that, you know, it's like, you know, time goes by fast. You know, back in my day, it's like, oh, I wish I was young again, man. It was, yeah. That's why family celebrations, Christian celebrations are important for multiple reasons. They act like book months. You need a Zen man? Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks for that. So anyway, I watched Goodfellas. Great movie. You know, it follows Italian crime on the East Coast and from the 50s, mid 50s to the mid 80s, with the main character Ray Liotta playing Henry Hill, and the rise and fall of his crew of Italian gangsters. You're right, but there is a funny feeling. I can't put your finger on it. I don't know. Maybe you just, it's possible you perceive the world differently. I mean, COVID was a tumultuous time. A lot of people got red pilled during COVID. Probably just have a different worldview too. Look at the world a little differently. Can affect your perception of time. Do you believe the allegations between the Chinaman and the Russian man on the meeting? The what? What meeting? Yeah, bookmarks in your life? I see, yeah. Is it real? Is it fake? Yeah, watch it for the first time. Watch it for the first time. At least as far as I can remember. One of your favorite movies when you were a wee lad? Yeah. What meeting are you talking about? I haven't looked at the news today, to be honest. I was just watching Goodfellas. Is there something I'm missing? The biomedical engineer body hacking allegations. Wow, the G military parade? He invited Putin and they talked about replacing organs ad infinitum and could live forever. I did not hear about that. You're telling me now, unironically, for the first time. I did not hear about this meeting. It must have slipped through my radar. How boomer was your post? A little boomer. Pretty boomer. Bookmarks in your life. These moments are like bookmarks in your life. Better than our pathetic parade? Yeah, I mean, the Chinese kind of mocked us with that. I remember I like said, yeah, like our parade was pretty shitty, and Kumquat got all defensive. He's like, the army parades they're always shitty. The army never knew how to march. I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. It still sucked. It was still really gay. It still made us look like fucking bozos. You were in prison during COVID, and we were doing 23.5 hours a day in the cell for a year straight. Sheesh. Think of the prison bit I made slightly more retarded. Possible. Crazy. It was a hot mic. Interesting. Oaf is unironically the highest IQ chatter right now. I was being intentionally vague, and he got it. Wait, where's Maria? We need Maria. Yeah, parade girl on a tank making vroom sounds like shelled up the drone. Step up my game. Okay, well, I was too busy watching Goodfellas, alright? I was too busy watching Goodfellas. Xi Jinping was talking about reaching... Okay, let me look into this. Was this on a... Was this on Telegram? Was this on... I'm sure I could probably search it. Putin... I hate how you have to, like, be kind of specific with how you, search on X. It's kind of shitty. What's a keyword here to use what? Xi Jinping was meeting with Putin, Little Rocket Man, and Modi of India. Respect on Kimmy boy. Let's try this. I'm sure some schizo. Very important meeting in a hot mic. No Rocket Man murdered his own toilet so Xi Jinping couldn't steal his DNA. That's pretty funny. But the great leader didn't use. yeah. What are you talking about? Xi Jinping doesn't shit.
There's allegedly a hot mic moment that was captured between the Chinese president Xi Jinping.
Dude, I hate. Okay, YouTube, get your shit to. Okay, do you guys see this? Like, it doesn't fucking load properly. I have to reload the page. I want to turn up the damn volume. See? YouTube, get it together. I don't understand how it's been years they've had YouTube Shorts and they still can't get this shit to work on desktop.
Mic moment that was captured between the Chinese president Xi Jinping and the Russian president Vladimir Putin on September 3rd of 2025 during the big military parade event that was happening in China. Now, the two leaders, who were both 72 years old, were walking towards Tiananmen Square alongside North Korean leader Kim Jong-un when the exchange was inadvertently broadcast by the Chinese state media outlet CCTV.
That's quite the incline, dude. Look at this incline. Is that just a perspective? They're really hauling ass uphill.
In the footage, Putin's translators heard saying in Chinese that biotechnology is continuously developing, following an inaudible comment from Putin to Xi. And then the translator continues saying, quote, human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you become.
This is it? That's it? That's the whole thing? I mean, like, dude, everyone's talking about life extension technology. Like 10 years ago, they were saying they believe that the first person to live to 200 has already been born. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really, like, anything crazy about this. You pegged Xi was what? Usually turtles when traveling. What are we going on about here? Well, what's going on here? Which world leader do you think takes the biggest dumps? Probably Trump. He's a pretty big guy. Lots of Big Macs, you know. Could be one from India, but they're not very big. They're not like big people. We have any Slavic or Chinaman in chat that can verify this? Mello, what are they saying? I don't know fucking Mandarin. Takashi never misfired. There's a funny Modi slash Xi Jinping handshake misfire. Modi reaches out to Xi Jinping, just points where Modi should walk to. He doesn't want poo on. Ugh. I look like I knew Mandarin. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a nothing burger. Like, people talk about life extension technology all the time. Yeah, I'm not surprised that two world leaders are kind of talking about it in passing. You know? What is this, like baby's first red pill? I don't know, it's like... Is there something more here, or... I mean, obviously the implications are a little dark. You know, are Putin and Xi Jinping considering, like, harvesting people's organs to live forever? Maybe there's something going on like that. And there's been all kinds of rumors, you know. Rumors of, like, blood transfusions. You know, it's not even like it's super esoteric. I think, Brian Johnson talks about it. Is it with that Y? Yeah. This guy that's trying to live forever. where he'll get blood transfusions from his son. Like, this guy's legitimately trying to, like, live forever. And he's in, like, peak condition, you know? He's, like, turning himself into a science experiment. He's testing his blood, his hair, his fucking boners, everything. Just constant lab testing. He's, like, trying to, like, this is, like, peak biohacking. As they laid out all their plans for life extension on the sidewalk, they dropped the pamphlet that was recovered. No, there's not something more you don't. Then you're making a big nothing burger. This is a nothing burger, dude. I'm the dumbass. They talk about this stuff regularly out in the open. It's not some big secret. How do you think Kissinger lived to 100 looking like a turtle? Yeah, it was a something adrenochrome, blood transfusion, something.
This was just pulled out of my body, and the doctor said it's the cleanest she's ever seen. Let's go back to the beginning. Hey guys, so you remember that blood boy thing? That's when my son gave me plasma.
Anti-aging fanatic who spends more than $2 million per year to retain youth uses teen son as, quote, blood boy.
Bruh.
His son needs to watch out right now.
His son needs to run.
Well, today we're doing a V2.
Anyway. He looks like an exhumed mummy with a dusty wig. What, this guy? Jack actually mentions in passing shit if you're stupid. No, I don't. I hate you, Kumquat. I hate you. You've got to read your horror posts? Huh? What? What the? Yeah, that is little. Yeah, you're just like Trump, Kumquat. Yeah, you're just like Trump. What did I forget to... I'm scrolling. Hang on, am I looking over this? Let me look up the, Did this guy do blood transfusions? Yeah, I think it looks like he did. Anyway. Oh, yeah, that's what, yeah. I gotcha. Hara Takashi never misfired. Add Chappie to the movie list. Did I watch that? I think I saw half of it. It was okay, if I recall correctly. But, yeah, I mean, back to the movie. Good movie. I love the pacing, right? It starts with a cold open where the trio, De Niro, Pesci, and Liotta, you know, they're in a car, they're driving. They say, oh, I think we got a flat tire. They pull over, and it's revealed that there's a guy in the trunk. And they finish him off and bury him. Right? That's the cold open. But the pacing on the movie is really, really, really good. Like, Scorsese just, like, drops you into this world, you know, it's fast. There's one scene in particular that stuck out to me when, Liotta is narrating to the audience, and they're in this restaurant, and he's talking about all these different gangsters, right? All these different people, and it's like it's fast. It's like, you know, it's like you're not really meant to remember everybody and all these names, all these faces, and they all have their character, you know. Like that one guy that's two time, and they call him because he said everything two times. And I really like that as a technique, because it's like, you know, even just the way it was shot, this moving shot through the restaurant really puts you in the shoes of, like, as if Ray Liotta's like has his hand and he's pulling you along like a guest, introducing you to what it's very immersive in that sense. And I think it's a really good technique for world building, because it's a POV shot, and so, but over the course of the film, you know, these characters are fleshed out, so it's not like a big deal if you don't remember all of the faces and names at the start, because the ones that are really important get more screen time. You know, people like Billy Batts, obviously Paul or Frankie, and so right off the bat, it really pulls you in. It pulls you into this world. You know, it doesn't spend so much time telling you about it. Like, the narration's there. You've got the explanation, but it's showing you how they operate, how they interact with one another. I think that's much more effective. And so there's a lot of motion involved. And I think that's just good storytelling. But at Princess Bride, it's about two whites trying to meet their true love while a bunch of Jays get in the way. That's the guy that's like inconceivable. I think I've seen part of that. The new woman Ghostbusters. You just want me to suffer, don't you? I need to see Shutter. I've never seen Shutter Island either. I should watch that. But anyway. So it takes you through the rise and fall of these three that are, you know, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci, that are originally they're working for the boss, Paul, or Paulie, who's the head of the Italian mob, right? He's the head of he's the patriarch. And Goodfellas, as far as back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Yeah, that's one of the opening lines. And I guess we can watch like a trailer.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Hey, Mom, what do you think?
You look like a gangster.
I know I.
Don't my shoes look nice?
By the time I grew up, there was $30 billion a year in cargo moving through Idlewild Airport. And believe me, we tried to steal every bit of it.
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
He's not Jewish.
Mazel tov.
Oh yeah, and spoiler, he marries a Jewish woman. That's kind of funny. It's not like a huge plot point, to be honest. It is interesting. He starts off with the cross, wearing the crucifix, and she's like, "Oh, you should button that up when you're meeting my mother." Obviously, you know, we know what's going on there. But then he starts wearing a Star of David with it. You know, that he's wearing. So that's just like that's a little funny tidbit, because like they're talking about like there are like passing mentions of like the different race dynamics going on in the, you know, it's set originally in the 50s and it goes through the 60s, 70s, and finally the 80s. You know, and obviously Italians and Jews have history. And at one point, Joe Pesci's character, when he was the one that introduced Liotta's character to his future wife, Karen. You know, he's like, I'm trying to bang this Jewish broad. And she's like, she doesn't want to be alone with an Italian because, because of the prejudice. You believe that? It's like a Jew not liking an Italian, stuff like that. So it's kind of a funny look into go to the old world America of the last century. But it is interesting that, one of the big plot points between the three characters, between the trio that go off and try to do their own thing, Robert De Niro and Liotta they're both mixed, half Italian, or at least part Italian, part Irish. Joe Pesci is like the only like true full-on Sicilian. And that becomes a plot point in the future, because these three are going behind the backs of Paulie. Right, Paulie's running a tight ship, and there's a rule. There's a rule in the Italian mafia. You don't kill a made man. And a made man is an Italian, a full-blooded Italian that is sort of like officially entered into the family, into the Italian family. It's a great honor. And at one point, Joe Pesci's character, he's just a loose fucking cannon. He's just shooting people who, like, anyone who who even like moderately offends him. Well, he kills Billy Batts, Frank Vincent's character, who's a made man, over like this kind of like back and forth at a bar. Now, as the story progresses, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, they're doing their own thing, and eventually it leads them to this big heist, this Lufthansa heist, where they steal several $1 million worth of money. Well, money or product, I can't remember which, but it's an enormous heist, and it's a major point of contention as the cops are on them. And, James Conway, or Jimmy Conway, Robert De Niro's character, he's like the guy that's like continuing to push the envelope. He's really always reaching for more and more and more. It's just like pride and hubris that gets the best of him. He wants a bigger cut. He wants to take more risks. And, eventually he starts whacking a lot of the people that were involved in the heist with him, cutting off loose ends. And that sort of goes against this old world mentality that Paul had, where it's more about respect, working with a close, tight-knit group of people and respecting them, and you don't kill a made man. These are like sort of the old ideas of the Italian mafia that's sort of at odds with this new contingent. And a lot of that is because, well, they're not, both Ray and Robert De Niro, they're not fully Italian, so they couldn't technically become made men. They have a different sort of mentality about it too. So eventually, Paul, he catches wind of what Joe Pesci's character did in killing Frank, and eventually Joe Pesci's character gets whacked after being promised that he would become a made man. And things are already beginning to unravel, because Paul's character, he tells Ray Liotta's character, don't hang out with these two guys, Jimmy Conway and Tommy, because they're not trustworthy. They're loose cannons. They're liabilities. And also, he tells Ray's character, don't get involved in the drug stuff, because eventually Ray gets pinched, right? He gets caught, and he spends about 5 years in prison. And one of the ways to make ends meet is he starts selling drugs. Well, it turns out to be a very lucrative process, to which even once he gets out of prison, he's still selling drugs. So right there, he's disobeying Paulie's advice. Really not much of advice, more of like an order, not to like do that kind of stuff. And eventually the whole thing comes unraveled. And Ray gets caught, Henry Hill gets caught, and his whole operation gets busted, and then he eventually rats out Robert De Niro's character and Paulie's character in the end to go into witness protection. So, and as is often the case with these things, it's like it's like a series of poor decision making, that led to their downfall. It was Tommy's inability to like contain his temper, his wrath. He killed a number of people just purely off of like verbal disagreements or like what he felt was like a slight. And again, a big part of of why the operation worked in the first place was because it was built on respect. It was built on sort of protectionism, right? That's what Paul originally sold. That's what his business was in, what the mafia business was in. It was about protection and smuggling on the side, but protecting the neighborhood and people in the neighborhood from like other shysters. That's where it originally started. And it kind of snowballed into greater heists and eventually drugs. And that's where Jimmy Conway's, that's where his downfall came in, where he just, it was almost like this pride, this like, he always needs a bigger score. He begins to bite the hand that feeds. He begins to whack his own people that he deemed were liabilities. And so, and of course, Ray Liotta just couldn't like really, his fault was like, he just really couldn't say no. He, throughout the film, he's like cheating on his wife, which not like a big like element of his downfall. But then he gets addicted to drugs, and it's impairing his judgment. And so he just couldn't really temper himself. And so they had a good thing going at one point that was totally ruined by each of these characters' individual like personality faults. And even towards the end, when Ray Liotta, he gets out of prison and he knows that Jimmy's gonna kill him, right? There's a high likelihood Jimmy's gonna kill him, especially when Jimmy tells him he wants to go to Florida to whack somebody. That's never happened before. That's like, okay, this is an unusual thing. He even says, like, I'm probably not coming back from Florida. So he goes to, like, Paulie to say, like, look, I need help. I've got to, they're going to kill me. I'm sorry, I didn't listen. Sorry for everything. And Paulie gives him about $3,000 and says, look, I got to turn my back on you. And that was like probably Paulie's biggest, like mistake of the whole film, because that gives Henry Hill, Ray Liotta's character, no choice but then to go to the feds for protection, and he goes to the feds, and the whole thing comes apart. Paulie goes down, Jimmy goes down, the whole thing's done. If Paulie had either if he had either like sold out Ray Liotta's character, or if he had just like offered him complete protection, it would have been a different story. And so I think that was like probably his biggest mistake. He either should have killed him himself, or he should have sort of taken a more principled stance and protected him in the way that he did before. One or the other, but either way, it was sort of his weakness and indecision that he probably could have saved himself if he either took out Ray or brought him under his wing. At Donnie Brasco, another awesome biopic with Johnny Depp. You didn't care for Goodfellas? It insists upon... Okay, what Family Guy reference. Black cement did that neighborhood destroying, killing over disrespect and quick, easy money of work, but they got it from the Italians and the Hebes. The blacks started doing it after. Only difference is gangster rap, which brainwashed used to do. I'm from a Crip neighborhood, and when I went to prison, all the old Italians doing life-told stories, and they were basically doing all the same shit. They were minus the sagging pants and pill popping. I mean, yeah, like the organized element of it, sure, they got from the Italians and the Jewish mafia. but not so much the violence part of it. Henry Hill used to be a guest on the Howard Stern show back in the day when it was still good. He was a full-blown alcoholic, totally cooked. Yeah, I mean, look, and you see that in the film. I mean, he was addicted to drugs, and it was just a mess. Guy was a total mess. Towards the end, I mean, you can even see it in the screenshot. Like, he's just like totally cooked. So, yeah. And it's funny because, like, his wife is like, a big part, Karen Hill, his wife, his Jewish wife, it's like a big part in the whole thing, and then of course, like after he goes down, like it's in like the end, the end slides talking about what happened to everybody. Of course, she eventually divorces him in like the late 80s. So at your lowest point, your woman will leave you. Yeah, sorry, but the Italians were definitely violent as fuck and killing each other often, just like the street gangs. Yeah, they were violent, but there was sort of a code of honor for the most part. It's not like it's a different world. This kind of organized crime is very different than like the black crime in like Chicago, for instance. It's definitely, they were definitely violent, but there were rules to this. Rules that sometimes like Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito both broke. But yeah, these hoes ain't loyal, real. So it was definitely a different kind of violence. Yeah. There was a code of honor spoken about for sure, but there was rules for first black gangs, organized crime. It wasn't until rap came along that all disappeared. Yeah, it's all just gone downhill for black people. You can go back to civil rights or even the crack epidemic. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, you look at any of the inner cities, it's just like they're just carjacking people, and they're allowed to do this. It's like the two-tier justice system really enables this kind of really antisocial, violent criminal behavior that you see from you're seeing a lot from black people. It's making the problem a lot worse. The 90s has the best movies. So many bangers came out in that era. Yeah, it's just not the same today. Movies are just like what are even like, if we look at the top movies. This is on popularity. Wait, let's look at Shawshank Redemption. Okay, Godfather. Dark Knight's number 3. Really? That's a great movie, but is it really number 3 worthy? If speaking from experience is terrible, the gang violence is purely just about killing, not making money or anything more than just a score of murder. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And yeah, we shouldn't really tolerate any of it. Gay rules. Any mobs are taking offense to my comment, take it up with. Wait, what do you mean? Take it up with me? What? I don't want to face the consequences of throwing me under the bus. Yeah, it's just bad. It's now we just live in a state of anarcho tyranny. Ah, damn. Why did I tear off the tab on this? Now it's like poking my lip. But yeah, it was a great movie. Great movie of like a bygone era in America. It's we just live in such a different world. It's funny. It's like one of the major, or one of the sort of the repeating themes is like these characters were obviously against race mixing. You know, that was a central point for the Italian mob, and becoming a made man was that, you know, you were Sicilian, you were Italian. You know, even if you were half Irish, doesn't count. So. Different world, different world. There's some multiple people you grew up with get killed in front of you. I got shot with your best friend. Oh, shit. You can go on. It's disgusting. Yeah, man, dude, listen. It's like a lot of people, you know, there's like an ideological political agenda, but if you if you just put more policing in these neighborhoods, the crime will go down. And yeah, it's gonna, you know, a lot of black people are gonna get arrested, and we've all seen it before, the sob story, you know, the whole like, he was turning his life around, he was on the honor roll. It's like, yeah, but you know, what about all the people that are victims of the violent crime that don't, you know, they don't get an opportunity to get their life together? And so it's like, it's funny because obviously the number one beneficiary of more policing would be black people. The biggest victims of black crime are black people. And it's gotten just so out of control, man. It's gotten so, like, people's patience it's all wearing thin. So everything nowadays is just remakes of once popular movies and franchises, only posed up with leftist BS. Yeah, it's just such a lack of originality. I think a lot of people don't want to take risks. But it feels like our culture's also stagnated. You know, it feels like people are just not really inspired. They don't have as much to say that's really compelling. And I don't think social media has helped either, because it's like, now a lot of movies, games, television is not just made for you, a viewer, to watch it the way it was intended, but it's also now made to be like consumed in like a meta way. A lot of these movies are made to like go viral on TikTok, to have clippable moments and shit, to be talked about on Twitter, not just to exist in and of itself. And so you lose a lot of this sort of authenticity. Like, these movies are not earnest in the way that something like, you know, the Goodfellas is. Like, Goodfellas, it exists. It is what it is. It's unapologetic about what it is. It has its vision. It has its story. And, it's not trying to, like, be anything other than a self-contained movie, so to speak. I try to speak light into guys' lives you grew up with, and it goes in one ear and out the other. It makes me sad, but I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't even try to help. Yeah, dude, it's, look, man, it's tragic. Some people don't, like, some people just, they can't grasp reason, especially if that kind of life is all they've known. You know, we could talk about why, but that's why I think, you know, more police or the National Guard or whatever, literal force is the solution to this. Just force them to not commit crime anymore. Yeah, gotta pray for them. You do. You gotta pray for them, man. Everybody's a human being. The cops in your city do their job for sport. It's sad. They even say it. They don't care about making the city better. They just enjoy the sport of... Yeah, I mean, look, there's some of that. A lot of cops don't want to stick their neck out because they don't want another George Floyd situation, you know? You know, the district attorneys, they jump on these kinds of stories. If it's a white cop shooting a black criminal, you know how they play their narrative. And so while they play these like racial political games, people are dying. It's sick. Gay unit pulled up on me the other day on their way back from training, and they asked me where I've been. I told them I changed my life, and the first thing they said was, "That's too bad." They said, "That's too bad. We like chasing you around." Damn. I responded, "Well, you should be happy. It's one less person causing chaos." And they responded, "Well, if that keeps up, we'll be out of a job." Hinting at them being a beat cops or traffic cops and not having a fun gig like a gang unit cop. Yeah. I mean... No, I mean, there's truth to that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that really are kind of indifferent to the problem, you know? And the mindset has been in a lot of cities, Chicago is a good example of this, is just let them kill each other, you know? And that's just not right. That's just not right. That's not how we should be doing things. Like, what's the point of living in a society if we're just gonna let it fall apart like that? So, either way, I want to see this country and the cities get better. Real. I think we all do. Because that's like, you know, people will say like, when you talk about black crime, and we can talk about the reasons why there's black crime, but just talking about it in general, it's like people will say, oh, that's racist or racially motivated. It's like, look, I think we can all agree, and unfortunately, well, maybe not actually, that's the scary part, but I think most of us can agree we want the killings to stop. We want to live in a safe, prosperous, functional society, and it's just like, yeah. Exactly, the mindset of cops, just let them kill each other, and ultimately, I get it, but at the same time, I can't condone that. For real. For real. Yeah. It's bad. But, here, this is something Kumquat sent me. Guess we'll react to it. I don't know what... I don't know what the commentary is. I figure we'll watch it. It's, a reaction to Nick's rant about the black community. Exactly. Can't even take your kids outside. He got shot outside the store, 2-minute walking distance. Shit. Gonna move to New Hampshire and get the fuck out of the city and never turn back. Yeah, dude, it's fucked, man. And I've had guns pulled on me. I've seen bad shit. It's not fun, man. No one wants to live under these circumstances. You have to have a proactive police force or reactive police force. With its consequences, you get dead victims or cops in jail. I don't know how old you are, but I'm officially UNC status. I grew up in America that I know was great, and I watched it slip away bit by bit. Yeah, no, it's real, man. And I'm not like even just in the last 15 years, 20 years. It's gone, it's like so unbelievable. You look at downtown Chicago and it's a fucking free-for-all. You want your generation to live in the same country I grew up in? Yeah, for real, man. That's what I want for future generations too. It's unbelievable, man. I just like, you don't feel safe anywhere near the cities. So, fucking rough. Yeah, I think something's got to give, because, you know, for all this talk of like combating racism, when we talk about living in this liberal democracy, the post-civil rights movement, all of these efforts to like quote unquote, you know, beat racism. And I'm sure if you're here, then you probably know what the real reason behind all of that jargon is. But, you know, for any liberal, it's like, look at our society today. Have things gotten better? Have these race relations gotten better, or have they gotten worse? Is the temperature rising, or is it cooling off? And I think it's clear that things are getting worse. And the two-tier justice system, it's like, this is why I think it's really important, like, when it comes to this kind of stuff, when it comes specifically when we're talking about black crime, I think it's really important that the most vocal people about this should be black people. I think that when it comes to policing like black communities and condemning that behavior, I think by far and away the loudest voices should be black people condemning this behavior the most. Because what you look at what's happening, it's like, what are white people really supposed to do now? When white people complain about it, they get called racist. When they defend themselves, in many instances, they're the ones that are charged. They get the book thrown at them, And so there's this growing sentiment where white people are just checking out and they're saying, you know what, it's like, fine. White people will move away from all black people and they want nothing to do with them. They won't give them any time of day. And it will be like, if we want to have a civil discussion about how we're going to solve these problems, like we need to start being honest about the problems. Otherwise, like you will, and you're seeing this happen, it's like white people will just stick to themselves and they won't give black people the time of day. And I don't think that's the best solution either, per se, because we live in a country, we live in a society, we should want to all get along. We should want to find some kind of solution where we can have a peaceful outcome with a common understanding. But you do see like these like black narcissists, and you see a number of them that any attempt to broach the subject honestly gets shut down with, well, you're a racist. A lot of people, a lot of black people, like still, like I saw this one clip of this guy that doxed this guy because he tried to get him fired because he said the N-word in his stream. And it's like, is that the solution here? If your goal was to make that guy less racist, you probably just made him 10 times more racist. And it's like, so a guy says the N-word to you, which not polite, fair, and you try to ruin his life. You try to get him fired. You dox him. You try to ruin his social life, everything about it. It's like, that's not good. That's way worse than the guy saying the N-word. And that's where you just use the block button, you know? And so stuff like that needs to die. Stuff like that, this sort of narcissism, this, what you could say is fragility, this like unwillingness or inability to have a civil, and frankly, it's a tough conversation to have. But that sentiment needs to die, and it needs to die right now. Because this sentiment, this growing sentiment of like, okay, just let black people kill each other and we don't give a shit anymore, that's growing. And if we want to put a stop to the crime, and we've got to have an honest discussion about it. Otherwise, it's like, white people will just they'll fuck off to their own land, and black people will be on their own. And I don't think that's right either. I don't think we should allow these communities to just destroy themselves and bleed out into the rest of society. Yeah. You envy America boomers were born into? Real. You're here for kumquat. Do you think Trump will get his troops to Chicago before the courts stop him? We'll see. I don't even know. Like, Trump says a lot of things. I'm just waiting for it to happen, and then we can see. We can see if it has any impact. You all enough to remember 9/11? Was that before your time? That was a watershed moment where I know the country changed for the worse. The war's decisions made after it were beyond destructive. Vaguely. I was a very young kid. I think I sort of remember my mom picking me up from school. I was like in daycare, not even preschool. Yeah. So. Yeah, I sell kumquat merch. Oh, welcome back, kumquat. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it's pretty fucked. It's pretty fucked. But anyway, let's see what this commentator has to say about this.
Nobody hates black people for being black. Most people's interactions with black people are negative. If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for?
Black people. Nick Fuentes is a name that some of you guys may know and some of you may not know. He is a very controversial figure, so to say. He's worked with Ye. He just did a podcast with Candace Owens. He's had beef with Turning Point for years, as I can remember. He's a very interesting guy. I've never met him. He has his own opinions on various different things that he's allowed to have, and that's him. Now, the one thing I will say about Nick is that he's been doing this for I think well over a decade now. I think he's been making videos and streaming, and he's been doing this for years. And as far as I've seen him throughout all these years, he's been pretty consistent in his views and vocal about the things that he seems passionate about. And recently he went on a rant about black people, and apparently it's a rant that I'm not going to disagree with. I don't know. We're just going to give it a watch, and we're going to react to Nick Fuentes' opinion on why he has his own black fatigue and where his views are when it comes to black.
Hang on. Let's see what he has to say before we attack this guy. You know, let's see what this guy has to say. He might be on. Hey, whoa! This could be friendly fire for all we know. Whoa! Hey, hang on a second. This is like saying Richard Spencer's gay.
Culture in the black community in America today. What's interesting about Nick, and I don't wish this on anybody at all. I may disagree with Nick on some things, but he has the right to say what he wants to say. He has had his fair share of threats. He's been kicked off of payment platforms, banks. It's a little much for me, honestly, but it's for these reasons that when people see what he has to say, they agree on the low, but they don't say anything out loud, because when you do say the things that Nick says, you will get hated on. You will. And even as a
put your guns down, we're all friends here, real. But there's so many other blacks like myself who fuck with Nick. Real. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of black people reacting to Nick, and you know, when you listen to Nick, he's not a hateful guy. You know, he lays it all out there that, like, you know, nobody hates black people because they're black. You know, that's not. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there who do. There are people who legitimately hate. That's not what this is about. That's not what this movement is about. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I think it's important that Nick succeeds, especially because there are alternatives that are not as nice. Yeah. Kumquat, I'm also a black Afro-Latino that fucks with Nick. I'm happy to see my brother's
the black man myself, as that is crucial about the black community and the gay community, I get crapped onto a lot. And what sucks is that there are a lot of people. Oh, he is gay.
Wait, is he actually gay? Wait, were you guys right the whole time? Wait, whoa.
You will get hated on. You will. And even as a black man myself, as that is crucial about the black community and the gay community, I get crapped onto a lot. And what sucks is that there are a lot of people who have the same views as Nick does, or even as me.
Okay, okay. So when you guys are saying this guy's gay, that was just descriptive. That was just descriptive. You were just actually telling the truth. No, Kumquat's not black. He's fucking Mexican. He's a Mexican. Don't let him deceive you. No, bro, you've got like what? You've got like blonde hair and blue eyes. You're a white Mexican.
That can't openly speak out about these things because they don't want to be fear of getting canceled, and they don't want to be doxxed.
He's also short. He's like 5'2".
It's a shame. I really do believe, look, I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling, and they're turning.
Yeah, but you said you're mixed, right? You're like part Native American, I believe, if I recall correctly. Hot boiled over.
Maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel. And, you know, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare. And I don't consider myself one of them. The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interactions with black people are negative.
Now?
I'm quite a Spanish. My mom's black and Native American, and your dad is Frenchy and Inuit. That's right. That's what you told me. Okay, Boogie, I claim you as my own. You don't look black or white. Oh, so you're like somewhere in between, huh? That's your African brother. That's gotta, like, you know. You look like a safe space in between the two. That's kind of rough, right? Because like. Then you're probably considered light skinned, right, by other black people, and then like, but you're always considered a black person by white people, right? I've heard enough, Logic songs, to know about that experience. I mean, come on, he has a lisp. He could be straight in an alternate universe. Yeah. He plays in your favor now as an adult, but as a kid I was shunned. Yeah, that's Kumquat is white adjacent. Kumquat is his, I don't know, you know, one day he's a Mexican, the next he's a black man, the next time he's a black lesbian. I don't even know anymore. I can't keep up with him. Oh, you were called white boy growing up? Yeah, you know, this is, you know, to take a sort of a step, like this is some, like a big part of the reality of race mixing that a lot of people don't fully understand, because, you know, and I'm mixed race too, so yeah, and it's not, you know, I was never like had a super negative experience being mixed race, but you don't fall into either category. You know, a lot of people have identity crises who are mixed race because, you know, you are simultaneously two things, but simultaneously neither of those things. You know, you're white, but you're not. You're black, but you're not. You know, so you're neither, and you're neither fully accepted into either of those categories. And so it's funny that like a lot of people who are not mixed race, you know, they don't see the problem of race mixing, and it's like, well, you've got to sort of empathize with like what your children will experience. And it's not an insurmountable challenge, but it's tough. It's tough. Not like it's like when you are neither one thing or the other. It sort of begs the question, where do you fall in? Where do you fall into this equation? And it kind of goes back to like Goodfellas, you know? It was the Italian mob, and you had to be Italian if you wanted to be made. And two of the characters were half. And so they could never be made because they were not Italian. And then, you know, it's... And there's importance to that because, like, people might say that's a bad thing, but having this sort of heritage means you're more likely it's more likely to resonate with you. You're more likely to defend that heritage because you look at, if you're Italian and you go to like to Rome and you look at all the buildings, it's like, you know, this is what my ancestors built. I want to protect this. I am Italian. But if you're half Italian, half something else, it's not going to resonate the same because it's like, it's to put it simply, it wasn't, you're not 100% of this make. And so it's sort of a weakness for any kind of population. It's a challenge for population to overcome this race mixing. And this is where it makes it a lot easier for an ethnically homogenous group, a tight-knit homogenous group like the Jews, who take pride in their ethnicity and you know, tend to avoid race mixing outside of pragmatic reasons, like marrying into like royalty or wealth. You know, it makes it a lot easier for them to work their way into a society when it's totally broken apart like that. And so there's issues with race mixing on a micro level, but also a macro level too. Yeah. And the white kids at my church called you the ghetto kid. Shit. Basically look like a Puerto Rican. In your hood, you were called white boy. A full-on walking midnight with two full moons as eyes and teeth can be mistaken as stars. I'm proud to be black. Yeah. Okay. But at church, I was black because it was a white church. That's when I got involved in the gangs in your neighborhood. They were the first people to accept me. I definitely had identity issues growing up. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is real stuff, man, that like people have been conditioned to not talk about. I'm comfortable in my skin. I don't need acceptance from the white man. Kumquat, shut the fuck up. Race mixing made my life rough, but you're happy with who you are now. Yeah, you know, that's what, you know, a lot of it is you have to, like, you're dealt a hand and you got to just deal the hand that you're dealt, you know? Make the best of it. Yeah, just say you're Italian. Hold on a second. Also for medical reasons. Now we have gender mixing like Nick and her biological son, Candace. Yeah, you know, now Nick, lesbian, trans lesbian Nick, and Nick Fuentes and his trans son. I'm getting everything confused now. Candace Owens. Yeah, look at how far we've come as a society. Wow. So accepting. It's just so progressive. But yeah.
I will say, as a black man, I believe Nick lives around or in Chicago. He's in the Midwest, and I'm from the same areas as him. This is true. We talk about it on this channel. He said two important things. He doesn't think that we're not like irredeemable, and he doesn't think it's because of the color, necessarily the color of our skin. It's literally how we're acting in the streets. And when I think about every horrible interaction that I've had in my life, and if I had to look at it through the data on who they were, what they looked like, male, female, race, it's black men. Which is funny enough because throughout my life, I was always told...
As a black man, you give me the pass? Oh, thanks, Kumquat. Appreciate it.
Black people unite. That's funny because the most supportive people that have ever been in my life to push me beyond my goals and my dreams, to support me, have been white people.
W. Nick has to marry an Italian or Irish woman with tall brothers to give him some height. Well, his kid's height, right? You know. Yeah, you know, dude, it's gonna be tough for him, man. It's gonna be tough for him to find a wife. It's honestly, it's tough for any Zoomer man to find a wife nowadays that's like not gonna ruin your fucking life. Oh, dude, but like, especially Nick, because he's a public figure and is canceled everywhere. But like, I'm not looking forward to this, to like looking for a wife either, dude. Can you get a pass? Yeah. Yeah, prenup, yeah. Definitely get a prenup. In this day and age, you gotta get a prenup. Get a prenup regardless, man. And it's like, nobody should plan on like getting divorced, but you kind of have to contend with reality. Like, obviously divorce is not Catholic. You're not supposed to get divorced. However, you know, then the prenup's not a problem, right? If you don't get divorced, then the prenup will never really come into effect. So you can, I believe, I don't know if this is like strict doctrine, that if you're Catholic, like, you can get a prenup, it's not a problem. It's not like sin or immoral. Getting the divorce is immoral. It's not something you're not supposed to do unless it's annulled, unless like the marriage was never valid, or there's a very serious circumstance that voids the wedding or avoids the marriage. L playing the game, yeah, dude, it's fucked, man. It's like, that's where, like, look, if you're a man, like, you gotta get your shit together, and really, you've gotta, like, not, you like, women should not be your priority. A lot of guys just get too roped into, like, women, and whether it's because they're attracted to women, and they want to fuck women, or because, like, they like the idea of having like a companion. You just cannot think that way. That cannot be your modus operandi, like being attracted to women or whatever. Nick is going to Turkey with... I was thinking about that. Yeah, he's going to get his leg extension technology, dude. I don't think people should do that. Like, I'm 5'10". I accept it, man. I accept it. I'm never going to be a 6'2" Giga Chad. Your wife is not someone to love or someone to ease your stress. A wife will increase your stress. Wife is nothing more than a resource to reproduce and nothing more. Yeah, pretty much. You shouldn't rely on your wife to provide you that, you know? Your wife is not there for your own emotional stability. You've got to be the one that's emotionally stable. It would be nice if your wife is ride or die and does things to make your life a little bit easier, packs your lunch for you, you know, organizes the house, organizes your calendar, whatever. That's what like a good wife ought to do. But and you know, you should try to love your wife, of course. I'm not saying you should hate your wife or anything like that. But don't expect to like get that emotional stability from your wife, because she's expecting that from you. Jamela, you're going to order a Japanese bride. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Leave your dick for the hoes and leave your heart for the family. A wife should have neither for you. You come into this world alone, you'll die alone. She ain't shit. Just knock her up and throw her away because bitches ain't shit. Cheat on your wife. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's what I got from Goodfellas. You should cheat on your wife. Now obviously I don't condone cheating on your wife, but it is different when men cheat on their wife than when women do. It's done really for. It's just both are bad, of course, but like for men, it's like it's just like a nut, you know. Women, it's like it's deeper. Cheat on your wife, she will think about you more for that. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, look, dude, it's just rough, man. If she leaves you, she'll be thinking of you while she's fucking the next guy. I just think, you know, as a man, you can't really let women control you like that. You can't let women get a rise out of you like that. Women will always test your boundaries. They'll always try to push your buttons. It's a shit test. You just cannot really, you kind of have to be indifferent. Because women are sick in the head. They are. I mean, they fantasize about rape all the time. All the time. You like look at like the most popular novels among women. It's like all like rape fantasies with like minotaurs and mythical beasts and shit. It's like really fucked up. Like they're totally fucked in the head. So when you pull out the belt for real. Disavow, but true. Disavow, but kind of true. But yeah. Jokes aside, it is like, you know, you just can't really, you cannot let women get to you, you know?
Not black people in my life. Never been the case. And before anybody even thinks to say, oh, well, Amir, that makes sense, you know, you want to cater your content to white people, or you're just trying to appease the white man to stay in these circles, this, that, and the third. There's no circles for me to stay in. I mind my business at my home with my dog and my man. That's it. I made a whole video critiquing Trump. I made videos critiquing Israel. I don't care. I do not care. On this channel, we're going to talk about the things that we want to talk about from an open and honest perspective. And when it comes to this topic of black people and people having the worst interactions with this group of people, it is true. It's like you black people are like, oh my gosh, white people this, white people that. You look at every major black rapper that has died this last decade, it's been at the hands of other black people. You look at every new rule regarding like the teen takeovers, which we've gone through in another video. You look at every new rule, why there needs to be chaperones for teenagers at theme parks, at water parks, at malls, the list goes on. It's because of these young black teens. As someone who was a server, when you look at...
Yeah, I'm at home with my dog and my man. I think it's more saying a lot of shit. His dog's Hippocratic oath. Yeah, we've addressed that. This guy's gay. Like he's gay. You guys were right. You guys are right. Off the rip, off the first word uttered. You guys were right that he is actually gay. Wait, let me see if I can find this clip. Ah, fuck, I can't find it. Oh well. One of the most popular women's book is about a woman having sexual relationship with a minotaur. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, it's called Morning Glory Milking Farm. Women are cooked. Yeah, dude, it's just like... Can't wait for my robo-wife. Real? Yeah, where's my Ana de Armas robo wife? Where's my let me actually do on this one. Where's my holographic wife?
Do you want to dance? Do you want to open your present?
Chat, would you rather have this gay black man as your next door neighbor, or would you rather have a schizophrenic wigger that drops the game over every other sentence? Let's do a quick 5 check.
Let's just say it's our anniversary.
Is it?
Look at the way he places his hand on his chest.
But
Wait, this guy?
let's just say that it is. Okay. Happy anniversary.
An emanator.
Boy, China is making artificial wombs for 1700K or for 17K. Man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
Thank you.
Honey, you can go anywhere you want in the world now.
You know, it's like at
Where
what
do you wanna
point?
go first?
At what point do people even care whether it's real or not? You know, it reminds me of like that scene in The Matrix. You know, this right here.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Then we have a deal.
I don't want to remember nothing. Nothing. You understand? And I want to be rich. You know, someone important. Like an actor.
Whatever you want, Mr. Reagan.
Okay. You get my body back in a power plant. Reinsert me into the Matrix. I'll get you what you want.
Access codes to the Zion mainframe.
No, I told you I don't know them. I can get you the man who does.
Morpheus.
You know, it's just like, at what point do people even care, you know? Whether something's real or not. You know, people complain about AI slop and all this and that, and it's like, what is real even? What's the truth? Some people don't care. You there? It recommended my own stream. Where? On YouTube? Huh? Is that something I missed? Oh. Well, yeah, because of course it's going to recommend my own fucking stream, because it's me. It's my channel. Oh, come quiet. Yeah, you know, I just, you know, it's just like violence. Violence. I'm quiet. The word I'm thinking of is violence. Anyway, is we getting tonight? Is we getting? I don't even know if we getting. So Doesn't look like there's any updates. Anyway.
Who tips and who doesn't? There's a reason no one wants to be sat with a black table. You're on the streets, or it's funny in Nashville. If you're a Nashville native, you know, and I'm not
Where's
even being
my free
dramatic.
show?
You can just look on Google Maps. There's 24, and there's 65. 65 runs through Williamson County, which is like the richest county in Tennessee. It's mainly all rich white folk. And then 24 runs through like the more low-income areas and more culturally diverse areas of town. One of these interstates I hate driving on because people are very inconsiderate. They're cutting people off, slamming on brakes, zooming through, speeding, broke down cars. Being honest here. Like, we have to be brutally honest with each other and what we're experiencing and seeing in society, whether it's fear of being called a racist. The data is, the math isn't racist. What we're looking at isn't racist. It's just, it is what it is.
Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what? You're not supposed to do that.
Dude, I crash out every time I go on the fucking road, man. Every time, like, I like just drive a few blocks, go to the gym. It's like these people are like trying to get fucking hit by cars. They're like trying to die. They're like black people jumping out from behind cars, you know, running across the road. Running in the middle of the fucking road down a one-way street. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's going on here? It's crazy, man. It's just, I don't remember it being this bad.
If everybody did that, it would just be another lane, and, you know, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply.
I'm someone that is obsessed with the
Watch
body cam
Ryzen
footages,
Ultima.
Code Blue Cam, Midwest Safety, Daily Dose of Crime. Like, listen, I love them. And there is a common denominator. I've seen this in videos, and I've seen this for myself. Whenever there's traffic, the person I always see come flying down the shoulder selfishly, they're black. It is what it is. In the society that creates, the lack of decorum, it doesn't create something fun. I'm someone who loves Miami. I love visiting Miami, but only Brickell. I love me some Brickell. I love Wynwood. I can't do South Beach. Never, because it's too black.
Officers are patrolling the streets of South Beach.
The stepped-up enforcement comes amid a chaotic spring break filled with violence and lawlessness.
It's too dangerous. It's too ratchet. I don't want to walk around and see ass on a freaking Saturday evening. I don't want to deal with the rowdiness and the Bluetooth speakers and the crime. It's just a bad time. It's unfortunate. Even Vegas, I just went on a vacation to Vegas, and it was like I went out.
On paper, it's a Nissan Altima. In your head, it's a Hellcat. Hey, I know you're saving for a Hellcat. What do they sound like? It's like, why, you know? Put a hose on my dick, bro. Dude, a nice car is one of the worst investments you can make. You ain't lying, you lose your shit every time I just sit in your car and gotta drive in my city. I'll just be in your truck screaming slurs out my lungs. I hate it. Dude, it's so bad. I fucking hate it. Dude. Nick's channel went live. It's all pre-show. We don't know when. Yeah, Cargo Burr. Yeah, for real, dude. The way he's talking, you're gonna say this man is white. Financing a Hellcat for 120 months yeah, for real, dude. Like, it's just that's a whole nother dimension to all of this. Like, dude. back to the music, bro. All the rappers have them, so that yeah, the culture, the glorification of it's not helping. Every time a new trend starts in the music, you'll see them in the city just follow it to a T. No one talks about it, they just do it. Yeah, it's real. Hellcats are gay. Get a Mercedes AMG CLA. The best luxury car without breaking the bank. You can easily go a week without seeing a black person. Yeah, you live in like it's like 98% or whatever white town. It switches on Glocks, Hellcats, Trackhawks, designer clothes, all came from music. Even Gare get a BMW. Bro, just like don't worry about cars too much, you know? Until you have like, I would say liquid, only buy a car. Like obviously get a car if you need to go from point A to point B, of course. But if you're gonna splurge on a car, only buy something if you have in liquid like 4 times that value of the car. So if you're gonna buy a $250,000 Murcielago, probably more now, but hypothetically back when it was MSRP, then you would want at least $1 million in liquid. Imagine how good some King Von gonna sound when you're blasting it out. Dude, shut up. State of Oregon actively repulsed blacks after the end of slavery. Merc over BMW, you'll die on that hill. You were 19 with 3 of them. Sheesh. What all white boys know about King Von? Go to the police auction. Yeah, what kind of deals can you get at a police auction? We should know about that. Bricks are for old black men. I've never spent more than 10K on a car in my life. I refuse to have a car payment. They're terrible investments. They're depreciating assets. They're just not smart investments, man, unless you've got the extra money to spend. You've truly turned into an old racist Republican. No, you're not a Republican. You're something more right-wing than that. None of us are really Republicans. Republican Party is cooked. My white father turned into a libtard over the years, and it used to be a vicious right-wing. Funny how shit happens. Sorry, where are your Bugatti? Okay, I'm not going to talk about the car I drive, but whatever. I spent so much time in black chats to keep me from going complete anti-black racist. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, like, yeah, we don't hate anybody here, you know? Gotta remember, we're all human. And don't get overly emotional about it. Like, it is, when I see some of the black crime or the black narcissism, like, yeah, it gets you charged, but you know, then you see, and this is obvious, but then you see guys, you know, black people like the Hodge twins or Jordan B or like Ye, or and it kind of brings you down to earth. Or, you know, my best friend, he's black. I've known him for almost 15 years now. It's the best guy I know. So it's obviously like not, it's not a condemnation of every black person, you know. And that's where everyone needs to like remember to come back down to earth. Got 2000 Nissan Frontier 2006, runs great for work and for the family. Don't need nothing. Yeah, you don't need anything fancy, man. Cars are a liability, especially in this day and age when people are gonna try to rock your shit. You know, like if you drive in the city, especially, don't put a fucking sign over your head. Rob me, I've got money. I've met a few black fascists. That's always fun. Yeah, I mean, look at Tenrio. People that are blindly racist got Lil D energy. They dead ass weird, for real. But no, I'm not a Republican. Surely conservative socially and a truther, but you don't buy into political labels. Yeah, I mean, I would say from practically speaking, it's better to lean away from labels because you often inherit all of the baggage of that label. But sometimes it can be helpful to say, you know, I'm right wing. You know, I think we're all right wing here. I don't think it's helpful to go around calling yourself a fascist, even if that's kind of like what you mostly align with, for obvious reasons, right? Because then you've got to unpack all the baggage that comes with. It's easier to just, you know, stand on business and defend your own viewpoints without putting a label on it, because then you've got to unpack all of the preconceived notions people have to these labels. You know, did you be off name? Be off name? I resent that. I resent that comment. Have you guys ever heard a gunshot? I'm 20. I've never even seen a real gun up close, let alone gunshots. That shit is so casual in the States. Yeah, dude, I've heard gunshots all the time. And I've shotguns and all that. It's a pretty normal thing to, like, in America to be around guns, shoot guns at some point, own guns. It's pretty normal. I know you live in Canada, so it's different. It's not every single one, of course. It's just there's too many in one place to listen to rap. Yeah, I've heard gunshots, been shot, stabbed, and it's been in shootouts, been around gun violence since you were a little kid. Yeah. Yeah, it's statistics, you know? Just don't, like, when you don't know somebody, you have to make assumptions. You know, you have to think about statistics, you know, and just if it's a late night, I'm walking down the street and there's a black guy walking towards me. You know, I don't have a lot to go off of there, so it's like, okay, well, what are the odds this person's going to be dangerous? Well, it's higher than if it were a white guy or an Asian guy, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna cross the street, don't want to take that chance. Is what it is, you know? In polite company, when you meet somebody, of course, you give them a fair shake, but, you know, that doesn't, you know, don't put yourself in situations where you have to rely on that. A lot of people feel like they have to prove something. I'm not racist, so I'm going to approach this black guy at 3 a.m. who's talking to himself. You know, maybe there's something, he's clearly not mentally well, just to prove I'm not a racist. It's like, dude, that's fucking crazy. Like, don't do that. Like, you know, in many cases, racism saves lives. You can't imagine not knowing what a gunshot sounds like. Yeah, it's loud. It's, very loud, I guess. And the smell. People always forget about the smell. But yeah. A dog and a man. Okay, well, what is this slander going on here? I don't like how Kumquat is corrupting the chat. What's this link? What's this link you sent me?
Those are fireworks, right? Are those fireworks?
Those are not fireworks.
I gotta go.
That's crazy. Oh, sweet summer child. Your uncle was a recon marine. Oh, that's a tough deal. Recon marines are pretty hardcore. It got me into guns when I was a little kid, and that mixed with the gun violence in your neighborhood, it had such a weird time. Yeah, Starono posted it on IG before I even made it to the hospital. Damn, dude. However, being blatantly aware or what could be mistaken as fear makes you a target. Yeah, try not to stand out. Try to blend in. You got to be fluid with it. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to, like, there's a way to, like, navigate urban. This sounds so fucking nerdy, but, like, there's a way to have street smarts and to navigate these urban situations, especially when, like, it's an urban situation or environment that could quickly pop off. You know, you have to, like, look for these cues. Especially, this is more true in, like, places that are a little more unstable, but you can certainly apply the line of thinking in America. You can see a lot of these similar trends. You know, there's a shift in energy when you can kind of feel things are going to pop off. And that you could, like, that's true, like, on a sort of a micro level. If you think somebody's eyeing you up, you know, maybe, like, assessing if you're a good mark or not. Or on a larger scale, like if you think like a protest is going to turn violent. She's cute, naive Asian streamer. Welcome to America. Anything but what he promised. Why were people against Trump sending in the National Guard to DC to clean it up? The crime stopped and it's cleaner for real. I think it's not so much that the policy is bad in and of itself. I mean, I think most of right-wingers support it in theory, but there's a skepticism about it. And if you know Palantir, police state, yada, 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 then you wonder, you know, you can't help but wonder, could this be a springboard into something maybe used against us in some kind of way? I like the other one with the 300-pound man just trying to go heat with gunshots. Yeah. Like if you look scared and cross the sidewalk point blank, and that person might just target you for that because you don't because they know you don't want the smoke. Yeah. You kind of have to take up space, you know? You can't signal weakness. You have to take up space. Yeah. Yeah, just don't make eye contact, but pay attention and watch their movements. Always mind your business and act natural, and you'll be all right. Yeah, and for the love of, don't wear fucking headphones, man. Out and about. Like, take out your fucking head. Like, dude, it's insane. I see these people, these libtards, and they walk around blissfully unaware that they're in danger. It's like, you idiot. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. Crazy. Come quiet, can she be saved? Good question. They don't hate anyone more than so you'll usually be safe as long as you don't look like you're in the streets. In some cases it does you better to not cross the road so you don't seem like a bitch or an easy target. It's very situational. That is true too. You know? That is true too. I don't know. Only God can save people. You ain't God. That's some crazy work. I think people were more concerned with using the military for the population. Slippery slope. Ninjas, if you can see, yeah, ninjas. I guess YouTube. You know how the rules are. That would just be a dumb reason to get fucking banned. Growing up in the hood, you never really bothered normal looking people. It was always other ninjas, friends, who walked and talked like us. That's for gangbangers anyways. Crackheads and shit. Whole other story. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's like... My recommendation for most people is just try to avoid it altogether. Just don't even put yourself in situations where you have to think where you even have to assess a situation. Just don't... I saw this clip of this white kid that was getting his car stolen by these two black guys, and he's scrawny. He's definitely not. And they're stealing his car. It's bro, get out of the car, bro. And yeah, they just knock his they just rock his shit, and he's on his ass. And it's dude, what did you expect would happen? What did you expect? You're confronting these two guys that are stealing your car. We've seen this play out 1,000 times before. Take a look at yourself. The guy was scrawny. The other dude was a head taller than him. It's this is... Why even take that risk, man? I know Catholics are watching the troops because RFK Jr. called anti-Semitism a health crisis. The homeless are being removed without due process because mental disorder. Now Trump is joking about pulling Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. Yeah, it's just bad precedents. A lot of it's just bad precedents, and you have to be aware of this stuff. On paper, this is how they're selling it to you. They're cleaning up the crime. They're using the National Guard, etc., to clean up the crime. But we are one false flag away from them deploying the National Guard everywhere, the military everywhere, suspending free speech, suspending the press, all in the mass surveillance, counterterrorism units, all in the name of suppressing quote unquote terrorism or terrorist sympathizers. And they'll of course conflate that with anybody critical of Israel. Oh, you're critical of Israel? Oh, that means you support Hamas. That means you support terrorism or Iran or whatever. We're going to investigate you. You can easily see how this can balloon and how all of this can be used against us. When they say they've got a kill list, a shit list of a million Americans that they deem are threats or potential extremists, you have to take that into consideration. Why would they make that list if they didn't intend on using it at some point or being willing to use it at some point? And so we should be very skeptical of this regime because we see who they're in bed with. We see who they're beholden to. They're beholden to Israel, the Palantir. So, they want you to cheer it on. They want the precedent to be set. And there's no guarantee that that's exactly how it'll play out, but you see the play. You see how this could go from point A to point B to point C to point D, etc. So we don't know what will come with that stuff. It's terrifying. We are going to be completely fucked once shit kicks off fully. It is. It's terrifying. We're talking, surveillance, drones, mass censorship, all in the name of national security. And this is what, this is why I think that we are, let's just assess the situation. Like, they are rapidly losing control of the narrative. Support for Israel is waning. They want a war with Iran. There's not a lot of public support for that war. And they also want to do something about the rising anti-Semitism. What better way to accomplish all of these things than with a catastrophic false flag in America? Because they'll blame it on Iran. I think, heaven forbid, I hope this isn't true, but we live in a post 9/11 world, a post USS Liberty world, a post COVID world. People are on maximum alert for false flags. People have like minimum trust in the government and institutions. We've seen this playbook before, so any kind of false flag would have to be like unheard of. It would have to be truly catastrophic and terrifying, a sum of all fears moment, such that people are more terrified than they are skeptical. And they're scared into compliance. Something like a nuclear weapon going off on American soil. And that would actually track with their objectives in Iran. They say Iran's 10 days or whatever, 2 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. What if they already have a nuclear bomb? And what if they snuck in that nuke into America through Biden's open border? Blame it on on Biden and the Democrats, right? And there are who knows how many other sleeper cells and terror cells in America. We got to crack down on free speech, and we have to crack down on surveillance and censorship, etc. Of course, that means anti-Semitism. We need to take sides with Israel because they're in the same fight that we're in. So you can very easily see how all of this could evolve. And maybe it's not a nuke, maybe it's something else, but it would have to be something so unconscionable, so terrifying that it sort of overrides people's skepticism. So, no fear, just keep going to church. Yeah. Yeah, definitely keep praying. Keep praying. Yeah. But again, they might not false flag, but they could. It's all contingent on the circumstances. Did I miss read your previous question about crime? Punishments up in chat. I must have missed it. Crime dropped and was cleaner. Where was it? I can't find it. Just ask the question again, because I can't seem to find it. The Catholic doctor Douglas Hagen calls it living in a state of exception, one crisis after another. Yeah, I mean, that's why you can't be afraid of anything. That's why the only thing you should be afraid of is God. Actually, you can't live your life in fear. You're counting on that. They're counting on people being afraid and despairing. You can't do either of those things. The Palantir stuff is scary. Edward Snowden already said they intercept all internet traffic, all of it, everything. Yeah, dude, that's why I don't think, like, obviously you shouldn't Fed post, but I think that, like, for the most part, there's no such thing as anonymity. It doesn't mean run out and dox yourself, but I think that if they truly want to figure out who you are, it's like child's play for them. Just most people are not important enough for them to know who you are. But especially with the advent of AI and it's just like it's so much easier. What do you think of re-implementing severe punishments such as torture for violent crime offenses like they have in the UAE, Qatar, Saudi, etc.? Perhaps a toned down version of that. Torture, huh? I'm generally against torture. I think there's other ways to persuade people other than torture. I think, we should bring back capital punishment. But in general, I'm against torture, but I haven't thought about it too much. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I don't think we should have like cruel and unusual punishment. Like, I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we should build things around torture, just in principle. But I don't have a particularly strong opinion on it, to be honest. Your previous question, I got flagged 6-foot limb cutting. Oh, maybe it did get flagged. It might have gotten flagged. Yeah, I don't even see it. It might have just not even gone through. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, yeah. And, there's layers to this. Like, like waterboarding is psychological torture. It doesn't leave any permanent physical damage, but it's like traumatic because your brain thinks you're drowning. I think there's a lot of things, people justify that are immoral. I don't think we like just to like fight a greater evil. I don't think we should think that way. I don't think we need to do immoral things to justify combating some other immorality. So now you could say like, and I remember like talking about in high school, I had like a little seminar where we talked about this, like sort of the question of moral conundrums. Like, let's say you have a terrorist and a nuke is about to go off in New York City. And you've got to find the launch codes or whatever, the deactivation code, and the terrorist has it. He has it, and he's not speaking. Would you torture him? And then the follow-up question is, well, would you torture his family? If potentially the lives of 1 million people are at stake, and I think it's. After reflecting on that for a while, I find a lot of these scenarios are very contrived. I don't actually think we necessarily live in a world that operates like that, because that's sort of like operating on the assumption that maybe there isn't sort of a providing objective, sort of a objective morality that is innate to our existence. I think that a lot of these scenarios only exist in the hypothetical, or they only exist in the way that we rationalize how we deal with certain conundrums. We tell ourselves these things to justify doing immoral things. We have to do this because otherwise it's... And you see how you can justify a lot of evil things. You can justify or rationalize anything with certain framing. People justify all kinds of war crimes because, well, we have to do it because they're terrorists, or, well, because we have to curb evil people. A similar line of logic is used to justify our actions in the Middle East over the last several decades. And so I think that as a Catholic, you have to be principled. If you believe in objective morality, it doesn't change with the circumstances. It doesn't change with with time, and it doesn't change depending on which circumstances you find yourself in. And so if you're faced with this problem where, the terrorist isn't speaking, but maybe if you torture his kid, then he'll open up. Well, it's obviously presupposed the kid is innocent. You have to take a principled stance on that, because what does it matter if it's not, if you're not living by your moral code? It's a kingdom of conscience more than anything. And so the more I think about it, the more I do think we have to be against torture. At least cruel and unusual torture. Certainly against, it should be prohibited against people that are innocent. I recognize, yeah, you rough people up, you rough criminals up, whatever. The lines sometimes get blurred, but as far as thinking about it, like a scenario under pristine conditions, we should be against torture. Not defending the Gulf Arabs, but they sure know how to keep the society orderly. We don't have to copy that, but we can implement some of that to keep people in line. Yeah, I mean, like capital punishment. What? Like obviously, like if somebody commits murder, there are things we consider beyond the pale, and we can either lock them away forever, or if people are truly like cannot live in society, it's like, well, that's sort of for God to judge them on. That Samuel Jackson movie where he was an interrogation expert. Which movie was that? Are you going to review Peter Thiel's 4-part series on the Antichrist on September 15th? I'm going to be gone. Don't forget, I'm going to be gone from the 13th to the 22nd. So it'll have to be after I get back. In San Francisco. I'm going to take a look at that. This is why you're here. Let's go. The culture is entirely different. Yeah, look, and here's the truth too. Some people don't respond to reason. We know some people don't respond to reason, and that's when you have to resort to things like force. Okay, somebody's not, and it sucks that this is the way that it is sometimes, but like, okay, like somebody's robbing somebody, and they're not stopping even when you tell them to stop. Sometimes you got to hit them or whatever. Sometimes you got to shoot people. We also have don't forget we have an obligation to protect the innocent. So, yeah. Islam revolves around punishment and submission. Christianity revolves around redemption and second chances. That bleeds entirely into the way we process justice, into the subconscious of a nation. Yeah, there's that, but also, there is a genetic component too. But don't forget, like, we have to, that doesn't mean Christians shouldn't get down with justice. Like, we are not, like, Christianity is not a pacifist religion. We certainly believe in justice. That's kind of the whole crux of the religion, is that, what is God if not an authority that dispenses justice? At the end of your life, you are judged, and, the evil are condemned to hell forever, and the virtuous are forgiven. Obviously presupposing that you ask for forgiveness. Despite what is based or not based, the general population wouldn't accept it because we are raised differently. Are both my parents Catholic? Just my mom. Just my dad. Just my dad is Catholic. Working on my mom. It's tough. It's tough. Like, and my mom's pretty stubborn, but it's one of those things when it comes to God and religion. There's this big sort of what would you call it? Sort of, I don't want to say prejudice, but people sort of, they don't like the idea of organized religion, but an organized religion with authority. And a lot of that has to do with the, years of propaganda and whatnot. And so it's like, it's all a lot of whataboutisms, like, well, the Pope said this, or there's this problem in the church. And it's, I think, people, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of, the media will take every opportunity to attack the Catholic Church, but it's like, do we hold any other institution to that same standard? Like, obviously there have been problems in the Catholic Church because there are problems with people. That's not really, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, though. Like, would people disavow being American because there's problems in our country, because there are things about America that they're not proud of? It's like just a different framework, Like, obviously there's problems in America. Am I going to renounce my citizenship because of that? No, I love America and I want to make America better. And so in a similar way, I love the Catholic Church and I want to make the Catholic Church better. Always thinking about improving. And that's because, and I love the Catholic Church because I love Jesus. I love God. And because of that, I love his church. And of course there's problems. There's always going to be problems, but that's the world we live in. For example, say a grown man robs a store intentionally. He then gets whipped 15 times each day for like a week. Then they let him go. Bro is rehabilitated and won't do it again in most scenarios. This punishment saves time from the individual instead of stuffing him in jail for years and also taxpayer money. Yeah, I mean, maybe something like that is in order. Because like I said, some people literally can only respond to threats of violence. And typically it has to be ingrained at a young age. That's why father figures are so important. That's why your development is so important and why you need to have a strong father figure that's going to set things right if you step out of line. Because, you know, people display higher rates of violent behavior when they don't have a father. It's something like you're 4 times more likely. I don't quote me on that number. I can't remember it. But you have a much higher likelihood of committing violent crime if you were raised by a single mom. So the single mom stuff is making shit way worse as well. There's layers to this, of course. Unthinkable should be a movie. If you haven't seen it, you should. Unthinkable is the movie. Okay, let me look.
In the name of Allah the Merciful and his Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
I like how it's like it's Islam, but this guy's not even. They weren't even like brave enough to make the guy brown, right?
My name is Yusuf Atta Muhammad. My former name.
They had to make him white enough, right? For political correctness. Touchball, also a great movie. So I remember asking about why are Japanese males so perverted, and you so basically do with anime media there, right? I don't know if that's what I said. I don't recall exactly what I said, but what's your point? Yeah, because they have a lot of pornography in Japan and whatnot, and not good. Brown world is low trust people, so Islam keeps order. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, you have to design your system around your people. You design your society around the people that make up your society. Syrians, Lebanese, Iraqis are significant white populations. I know, but you know, I'm just making a point here. And it could be Levantian, right?
Bombs in 3 American cities. And all 3 are nuclear bombs.
It could be Levantian, or it could be like Persian.
The only miscalculation in your plan was me.
Samuel L. Jackson. Dude, like, did they not? 8 years ago, you're telling me they didn't have high definition 8 years ago?
What is this place? Nowhere. Doesn't exist. Neither do we. He has to believe.
Clementine.
Suspect is being tortured. This is unconstitutional.
If those bombs go off, there will be no constitution.
I don't need your help.
Isn't it Levantine? So not Levantian.
I'm here because I want to be here. I will find your lie and I will break you.
Oh, it is Levantine, okay. You're right.
This is not about you. This is war. This is sacrifice.
Levantine people.
No time.
Oh, whatever. Shut the fuck up, kumquat. Look at King Abdullah of Jordan and his family. They are descendants of Prophet Muhammad. If I wasn't right, I would just shut up. Yeah, okay. Look, I'm kind of blitzing through things here, right? I think you were trying to say it's a new thing because of media corn, but I think they have always been perverted because some of the samurais used to have male concubines, right? Well, I mean, yeah, it's probably look, a lot of people have had prostitutes. You know, I think there were prostitutes in white countries, in pretty much everywhere. I mean, maybe there's something genetic to it, but I think a lot of it is, I mean, you can see the parallels between like Japan and their goonerisms with like America. Like America is becoming a much more perverted country, as like pornography is much more ubiquitous. And even like 20 years ago, I remember going to, when I was in Japan, like, dude, every manga store had like a basement or an attic where it's all hentai. It's like everywhere. It's like, and people will just be sitting there fucking reading. It's like, dude, what's going on here? So it's like, I think they're a little bit further along when it comes to the gooning. And they, of course, they're having problems with their fertility rate and the rates of marriage and whatnot. And so, you know, if you're not getting married, you're not having kids and stuff, then gooning is an alternative that's being sort of sold to people. And it's happening here in America with OnlyFans. We're just kind of lagging behind. And so I think there's a lot of parallels there. So, yeah, female concubines were normal, but male ones were, is where it gets strange. The video I watched, the guy made it seem like it was a normal thing. Well, they had male concubines in the Arab world too. You know, I don't know. I don't know too much about Japanese gay concubines. Japan is elite goonery, while USA is amateur goonery. We're getting there though. But yeah, Japan is like goon capital of the world, man. It's so bizarre. They're like polite about it too, for the most part. I mean, yeah, like, you know, you get creeps that are taking upskirt pictures of stuff, but like, there's not a lot of brutal rapes going on. Weird. It's such a weird, bizarre country and culture. Lucky for you, this guy has a PhD in gay concubines. Yeah, KHPN, tell us more about the gay concubines. My wife just perked her ears up. Too much gooner talk. Oh shit. Sorry. Whoops. My bad. Yeah. The point is, don't goon. Never goon. It's bad for you. But people are just like, they're just controlled by what their desires, you know? He knows too much? Yeah, he does. He just stumbled upon that video. Oh, I was just watching this video about he brought up the topic out of nowhere about gay concubines. KHPN, I know what you are. I know what you are. Freaky yeah. Anyway. Anywho. Why do you think the males don't grape more? Serious question. Most Japanese males are skinny, so I question if they even have the strength to do so. Well, yeah, but the women are also skinny. Well, you know, it's a similar problem. Like, you know, I think most Indian men are probably pretty skinny too, and they do it way more often. It's like if you're a white woman and you want to get raped, just go to India. They'll be groping you before you leave the airport. But I think a lot of it is to be honest, genetic. I think a lot of it is just genetic. Your actions, your behavior is you have a predisposition that's based on your genetics. Same way like any other animal or living creature is predisposed. So I think a lot of it's just genetic, to be honest. Headphones are key. We don't want wife hearing Kumquat's random thoughts. Yeah, when Kumquat's talking about his CBT theory, you know, maybe the stream is not so family friendly at those. You know, maybe we should be careful. When his CBT theory or like the thick Latinas and shit, you know. I think they were talking about me beating with. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. Anyway. there anything going on? Is we getting? Let's see, are we getting any updates? Pakis love graping in London. Expert grapers they are. Kavan, your Indians coming out. Oh, the Pakis are way worse. So, dude, it's like the fucking Spider-Man meme when, like, you know, between like Pakis, Indians, and like Bangladeshi, they're all like pointing at each other, shitting on each other's cultures. I saw this one account in like on X, showing like the trains in India or in Pakistan, or was it Bangladesh? See, I can't even keep it all together, like all in line. You know, it's Bangladesh. It's like, look at these look at how people are just riding on the tops and sides of these trains in Bangladesh. It's filthy and uncivilized. Here in India, we're investing on our new high-speed railway system. And it's like, whoa. It's like the dry Glazer moment in Inglourious Basterds. It's like, I know what you are. Here in India. Not so fast, buddy. Not so fast. Yeah, yeah. Your free show is late again. Yeah, let's see. Are any updates on that? Anything on Telegram? Going live in half an hour. That was about 15 minutes ago. All right. Don't get me wrong, India is the grape capital by far, but their grape stats in UK are low since they were in London for 200 years under the Empire. Yeah, I mean, look, it's bad. It's all, you know, nobody gets off the hook, you know, like, yeah, Pakistanis rape, you got people coming from Africa that are raping. There's a lot of rape going on. A lot of, you know. You'll soon realize your free show isn't free. You pay with your patience. Yeah. So I guess Nick should be going live in around 15 minutes or so. You pay with your time. Yeah, I have not like been online at all today, so I haven't caught up with the news. But I guess there are a lot of shill MAGA accounts shilling for India. I heard about this, but I'll have to catch up. That's why these lazy Italians need to get their shit together. Hey, what can I say? Look, we're just all products of our genetics. I can't help it that I'm the way that I am and I'm late all the time. You know, look, what even is time? What is the concept of time? You know, we watched that, like, that African, what was it, the philosophy about time, not like the future doesn't exist, only the past. And so, you know, all these white people, so like they're in a rush all the time. Suddenly empathize with my black brothers, you know. I get it, you know. What even is time anyway? Does it even exist? The future doesn't exist, the past no longer exists, and the present is just a blip. Instantaneous moment. Smotheballs, if you're scared to tell people your ethnicity, then you're a pussy anyway, regardless if your race is known for good things or bad things. You bot accounts, Kumquat should DM Nick and talk Mexican to Mexican about being late. Probably more his Italian side. Well, Italians, we can take the L on this one. Unless he's Southern. Look, he's Southern Italian. I'm Northern Italian, so I blame the Southern Italians. Us Northern Italians, you know, it's just we get it. I know these Southern Italians. Am I right? These Southern Italians, they need to get it together. My goodness. Come watch a DM Nick and talk. Oh, I read that. White man colonized time. Don't call yourself blackmail. You're not one of us. Everyone, hey, be nice to each other in chat now. We're all on the same side, I think. Everyone focus on IQ, but never the other quotients. So how much do you think the other ones matter? I think someone with higher AQ or SQ will make more than higher IQ. No. What is AQ and SQ again? Because EQ is emotional. Oh, adversity, right. And social. Yes and no. I think my understanding, and when I took psychology, IQ is the biggest determinant of success in society. And that makes sense because you need certain IQ for certain jobs. And so like the higher IQ you get, the more you're capable of doing. Because IQ can be, one way you can summarize it is it's your potential to do things, your capacity to do things and to understand things. And so there are things that people with low IQ cannot understand that people with high IQ can. It's not the end all be all, but as far as like determinants of success, IQ is the biggest one. And of course, so like you could make up for that in other ways. Like you'd be very social, you could be, have a very strong adversity quotient. I think this is very important too, but if you're just simply not capable of doing something because it's beyond your capacity to understand, then it's just not in your wheelhouse. Like you need the ability to have, like, for example, spatial reasoning to be a rocket scientist. Some people don't have that ability. Some people do not have an internal monologue. Some people don't have the ability to imagine something. They live in the immediate. They can't even think 15 minutes ahead of time. So how can you design a rocket that's going to go through various stages and different temperatures, pressures, and is going to be in fucking outer space if you can't rotate an object like 90 degrees in your head, So all these things are important, and you're not just a number, of course. You are not a number, you're a human being. But IQ is probably the most important. What was my good save? Mello, may I ask, sorry. Are you the outcome of a romantic Italian dad and cute Japanese woman? I am. Typical, right? Everyone focus on IQ, but, oh, that's a response. EQ can also go crazy. Very underrated. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, these things are important, but they're not the end-all be-all, and they're difficult to quantify, because humans are difficult to quantify. You can be yourself can be greater than the sum of your parts. So there's a limit to like how much you can read into this stuff, but it's by no means these are by no means useless metrics. If you're Northern Italian, then you're probably Austrian. I am part Austrian, yeah. I'm literally the Axis powers, dude. I'm like literally, I'm literally, hey. I'm what? If I'm like some mix of Northern Italian, Austrian, and Czech. And I think I have a little Polish in me. Ugh. That was my 9/11. Finding out I had a little Polish in me was like, say it ain't so. And in Japanese. David Goggins maxed out his AQ stats. Bro couldn't do 6'4" on the fly, but bro memorized the entire textbook. Yeah, David Goggins is just a freak of fucking nature, man. And he admits he's not the smartest guy in the world, but he just brute forces everything. He ran that like super marathon, like that 25. It was like, what was it? It was like a double marathon for the first time. He didn't train for it. He just ran it, and by like the end of it, like he had like fractures in his feet. He just didn't stay. He was like shitting on himself and everything, but he just didn't stop running for like 48 hours. Now David Goggins is like peak AQ. Guy just never fucking gave up. Disband Italy and bring back the papal state. Let's make the world papal, right? A maximum IQ is not required to be a productive member of society, but I think there is a minimum. certainly there's a minimum. Look, dude, people with like 60 IQ, like by definition have moderate mental retardation. So they cannot function. They can't hold a job. They have to be taken care of. There are countries that the average IQ is around 60. That's, you know, kind of mind-blowing. But they're people too. Speaker, I don't understand. Can you speak in lower IQ? When your brain works good and you can do more stuff. When your brain don't work too good, then you're shit out of luck. Speaker, I'm before the bell curve. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, most will say that, but I don't think IQ defines someone. Your IQ is probably levels above West Weston, yet the guy I think is still a multimillionaire. Yeah, no, it's not the end all be all. And that's where I think, you know, of course, humility matters. If you're low IQ, it is what it is. You know, you have to humbly accept that and just try to be the best person you can be and recognize that some things are beyond your capacity. And there's sort of an, you know, they say ignorance is bliss. You can recognize that if you're low IQ, a lot of these problems are for other people to figure out. And and similarly, if you're high IQ, you've got to recognize, look, man, the fucking weight of the world's on your shoulders. You got to, like, you're not just looking out for yourself, but you got to look out for the rest of people, the people who are not as fortunate, who don't have the capacity. So you're dealt a hand, and it's up to you to make of that hand, play that hand. Japanese Italian women do exist. That is true. But there's far fewer Japanese Italian mixes than Japanese or Italian women, you know what I'm saying? Nose check. I kind of have a big nose, don't I? But it's not a hook nose. It's not a hook nose. Many great leaders had big noses, so. Bro, can you listen to Emotion Engine by It's Your Favorite Song Ever? That's a random request. I'm not going to do that right now, Louise. I don't want to do that right now. He's always coping with his nose. Here we go. Here we go, Kumquat. Here we go. Here we fucking go. It's not a Jewish nose. If anything, it's like a Japanese nose. If inbreeding clearly reduces IQ, then it makes sense that most Muslim states lack innovation, since cousin marriage is condoned in Islam. Also goes for ultra-Orthodox religious Jews. Yeah, well, also, I know this is personal, but also India. In certain, especially like Southern India, they have like 25, it's like really high. Like 25% of the population is married to like their second cousin. That does have downward pressure on your IQ. And of course, there's smart Indians out there. It's not a condemnation of the whole country or the whole people. But it is to say that there are adverse effects, and you see there are higher rates of birth defects too. So you got to be careful of inbreeding. And you see that with Jews too. They have higher rates of certain neurological disorders. They're more neurotic. And I do think that there's an element of inbreeding that's causing that. Well, that's Fire Song. I could tell you the capital of Mongolia if you do. So maybe later, because I'm gonna hop on offline here in a minute, and as Nick goes live. Let's see, is he live right now? Okay, he's not live yet. Look up the Muslim states in India. There's 200 million Muslims that live there. They make up the vast majority of the inbreeding stats. Yeah, but that you know, that's their religion, not their ethnicity, or yeah, their race. But yeah, that's like me beating up on Southern Italians, you know. Inventory. Floodplain black and worth it. You'll know the capital of Mongolia. Is this like your song or something? Emotion Engine. Let me just look this up. That's kind of upbeat. Alright, yeah, I can play this. Fuck it, dude. Fuck it. Oh yeah, we were reacting to Call of Shame the other day. No, it's not your song, just a super fire song. What a random request. All Indian Muslims were forced to convert. They can't even speak Arabic. The Pakistani PM can't even speak Arabic. Shit's a joke. Oh, welcome back. I'm quiet. Yeah, what was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. Yeah. Yeah, I don't love India, man. I'm not gonna lie. I also don't like how Modi's turning a blind eye to a lot of the Christian persecution going on there. You know, both by both Muslims and Hindus for that matter, particularly in like northwest India. I do kind of have a problem with that. Wait, so do you think race/ethnicity IQ can improve over time? If so, how long? It can improve. I mean, it just makes sense, right? And let me turn this down so I can... This is pretty good, though. Like, if you have two smart parents, their kids are probably going to be smart. And so, you know, hypothetically speaking, if you take the top 5th percentile of a population and you get them to have like 15 kids each, and you take everybody below like the 50% mark and they're not allowed to have kids, then you could rapidly improve the IQ of your population. So in theory, it could happen pretty rapidly, but there needs to be some kind of like pressure to do so, some kind of environmental pressure or societal organization to make that happen. Mello, what you know about Egyptian trap scene? I don't know anything about the Egyptian trap scene. I can grant you knowledge over one thing of your desire to ask away. I don't know. I have no questions. I have no questions. Just tell me a fun fact that I probably wouldn't know. All right, Kumquat's gonna put me onto Egyptian trap. It's pretty good though. I like the song. This is like some shit you would listen to when you're like driving down the highway on like a sunny day. Windows down, just vibing. In fact, English is an extremely versatile language, primarily due to its double root in Proto-Germanic and Latin. Interesting. I mean, I knew it had roots in German and Latin. Because of that, many words usually have two synonyms. So that's what you meant by versatile. With roots in either. English is a nice language. I'm biased, of course, because it's my native language, but... A spirit and a ghost. Cool. What's up? How do you... Railzer? What's going on, dog? Nick is about to go live any minute now, so I'm probably not going to be live for too much longer. But appreciate you coming by. Is it high IQ to really believe some population in Africa that's not some rural tribe really have 60 IQ on average? You consider mentally disabled if you're under 70 and the average African can speak 2+ languages. Well, how many words in each of those languages do they know though? It's probably like fewer than 500 words. But I don't even think you have to go that deep. You just look at a lot of these African countries, these populations, and they're still dysfunctional. You know, it's like they still haven't learned basic stuff like farming or like digging a well. Mr. Beast had to dig 1,000 wells. That's stuff that higher IQ populations figured out thousands of years ago. It is what it is, you know? So they struggle to make 2-story buildings and bridges, for example. So spirit comes from Latin spiritu and ghost from German Gespenst. Give me a word and I will give you their 2 roots. Okay. I don't know. Train car. Well, I guess that's a compound. That's not fair. I don't know. Window. Go with window. English is good for me, for one reason for me, and that's because many people can understand it regardless of nationality. The reason that is because it's the language of greater communication. Is because America, and before America, the British Empire, were kind of the most powerful nations, and they were spread out, and it was beneficial for trade and communications for people to learn English rather than another language. And so it'll be interesting to see how things change in this century. I think a lot more people are going to be picking up Mandarin, I'll tell you that much. I don't know if it'll ever surpass English, but I do think we're already seeing a lot more Mandarin use. English is peak. I speak many languages like French and Hindi, and they all lack when it comes to academic expression, especially when conversing about the sciences. English dominates for that reason. The world of academia relies on it. It's interesting. It's interesting how, and I think a lot of the reason is because, well, you know, much of the sciences, majority of it was built by European countries, Germanic, Latin, and of course English, the English. And if English has roots in Germanic and Latin, then it follows that, you know, you have to develop words to describe stuff as you make observations and you pursue science. So that makes sense. What are 6 different languages for the word fart? Window comes from the Old English, letting the wind pass. It is actually one of the words that's special to English. Oh, wow. Wow. So look, hey, I found an exception. Arabic and Chinese are difficult to learn compared to English. Yeah, especially like writing Chinese is tough because you have to memorize the character. The nice thing about the phonics of English is you can sound it out, you know? You can't do that with Chinese. It's fucking frustrating, man. It's true the Japanese to an extent because they use Chinese characters too. It's called kanji. But you can still use the hiragana and katakana in Japanese at least. Orenji. A synonym can be aperture, which comes from Latin opening. And the opening comes from the German word öffnen. French is great for conversing, but I have trouble explaining topics like chemistry in it. Like I have the sub in English sometimes. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like you'll hear somebody speaking in another language and they'll just drop like English words in between. Because those are the origins of the word, you know? And it's like, if it's coming from the West, if it's coming from, you know, an English-speaking country, then why create a whole new word for it in your language when you can just adopt that language, you know? So, yeah, it kind of makes sense. The word window is actually very cool. Who would have thought? Razor, I am Arab, so I can speak English and Arabic, but Chinese, nah. Yeah, tough languages, man. In Portuguese, it's janela, which comes from Latin jana, equals small door. It is kind of a small door, isn't it? Mashallah, habibi, habibi. In Spanish, it's ventana. Let the wind pass, but in Spanish. Interesting. So they just kind of copy the English. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here. In German, it's Fenster, which means screen or hole. In Latin, it's Fenstra, which equals hole. Hole, huh? Pretty close to the German Fenster. Yeah, you know, they're right there. Right next to each other. Ironically, Germans don't use screens over their windows. They put up with the flies coming in. See, when I was in Germany, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, no, there were a lot more flies and shit. Kind of annoying. The place I stayed in, like, my exchange student's house was actually pretty cool. They had these like mechanical shades, so you could like these they were made out of metal, and they were on the outside, and so like if you wanted like blackout, you could just and you could lower them. Pretty cool. You know, I've never seen anything like that in America. I don't know how practical that is versus just having blackout shades, but hey, it was pretty cool. Hey, Kumquat, were you gonna give me some like Egyptian trap or something? Whatever. Back to Skyrim, I guess. It's like two nations in one. As soon as you cross into Quebec, they look like an alien if you're still speaking English. Yeah, that's just like crazy. Well, there's like there's parts in southern United States that still speak like still speak French, like in Louisiana, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. It's like a certain specific dialect of French. Very, very, very limited though. Yeah, I just knew that guy is an Indian migrant in Canada. It's obvious. Guy speaks French and Hindi. No other reason to speak those two languages. Yeah. Well, Arabic is difficult because of the pronunciation of the letters, because in English, not everything you can say is written, but Arabic, everything you can say is written. It's not everything you can say is written. But Arabic, everything you can say is written. Huh. Not quite sure I know what you mean. Alright, now can you play Forever by Days God? The fire song? Sure. That last recommendation was good, so... Which... Ah, here we go. I'll just go to D. What was it called? It was called... Forever. I'm sure it's probably just... Wait. Huh? Oh, is it under releases? That makes sense. I guess I'll just look for it. How is it? Forever. Yeah, I'll grant you another piece of knowledge. I've never left the USA. I'll be happy if I never even leave Oregon. Damn. Yeah, that's nice. It's your home, man. Traveling in this day and age, it's nice, but it's also kind of overrated, man. Once you travel and you've been to a few places, it's like it's the same shit. A beach in one country is kind of the same as a beach in another country. You know? That's cool. You know, it's a fun thing, but I don't think it's a lot of people like play it up in their mind so much. Like their whole purpose of existence is like to travel, especially women, because I think they equate traveling with status and like modern liberalism, because they don't want families. They replace that with other like hedonistic pursuits. So like travel, food, you know, just shit like that. That's really not a proper replacement for family. But anyway. Also, Arabic can describe many things with one word. Was it like I kind of remind, this is like a terrible reference, but like in like The Dictator, what was his name? Like Aladdin, and that means good and bad. Everything is Aladdin. Terrible reference, but I mean, what you could pronounce is written, but in English, that's not the general rule. Yeah, that's okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, like like here, H-E-A-R, and bear, B-E-A-R. Yeah. But that's also bear, B-A-R-E. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I know what you're saying. What do I wish to know? Let's anybody in chat have an interesting question? Let's give it up to chat. First person with a question. Many Indians speak French. East Indian states are French speaking. Puducherry in India is all French speakers. How big is the French speaking population in India? It's the same thing as saying many African states speak French. Nah, they speak Creole. Is we getting tonight? I don't think we getting yet. So we wait. Anyway. Let's see, how's our movie list doing? So we got Goodfellas. Got Casino on there. What should I do next? Maybe I will do Blade Runner. I kind of want to watch Blade Runner again. That's like a double matinee. Gotta do both of them. Can't just do one. There's more than 1 billion of y'all and redeem. Q, what is the process that creates the strong nuclear force? What is the process that creates a strong nuclear force? Nuclear force. Is that the right question? Gluons. I didn't know that. I learn something new every day. We do this in English too. Take shit, for example. It can mean good, bad, many objects, poop, to not care about something, etc. That's true. And there's different, and of course the prefix matters too. Like, there's good shit. There's that's bullshit. Horse shit. The shit is another one. And they all have different contexts, you know. Essential for quantum chromodynamics. Arabic has more exits than any other language. Interesting. Albeit not a lot of physicists study that. They'd rather study QED because it's easier. The force that holds protons in the nucleus of an atom. Oh yeah, batshit. Hey, batshit crazy. Yeah, that's another one. Shit fire can be a way of expressing surprise. Shit storm. Something like that's a total clusterfuck. What's the process that creates that force? I don't know. This is outside of my wheelhouse. I don't know too much about theoretical nuclear physics. QCD usually deals with high-level tensors, which are impossible to reason. What is the same word but with different pronunciation to describe different things? What's a good example? Same word with different pronunciations. I'm sure, like, I mean, you gotta have, like, slant rhymes and stuff. Or, like, double entendres. I love, okay, this is one of my favorite yay one-liners.
Sometimes it's not that I'm not right. Wait for it. Watch it. I got a good one. Here we go. Sometimes I'm just not right now. it's not right now. It's not
That's
that
right.
you're not right. It's just not right now. So they'll
You're
be
too ahead of us. Yeah, you're
Black people love the turn of phrase, don't they? But that's a good one. That's a good. I love that. I always value national pride over ethnic background. Otherwise, you have due problem of a non-state loyal transnational mob. All ethnics in a given state should only be loyal to said state. Well, there's problems with that though. Because what is the state? And who does the state represent if not a people? Because your national pride is a source, is tied deeply to your ethnic background. When you look at your country and you're proud of it because your ancestors built that country, and you look around and people look like you and they act like you, they have a shared background, they have the same religion, similar behavior, and it's sort of an extension of your family, you're going to feel a lot more connected to that. Versus if everyone looks different from you, speaks differently, has a different background, just functionally speaking, it's basic human behavior that they're less likely to feel at home. There's always been diversity in different places, in different nations and whatnot. Or nations are people, but in different states, different countries. But it's a country is in many ways like the way it's traditionally been seen. It's like a extension of your family, and as like the broadest way possible. If a nation is a people that have a distinct ethnicity, then the state is a government that is there to represent the interests of that nation. So, sort of civic nationalism is sort of, it's just not nearly as powerful as ethnic nationalism. You look at the Jews, they're ethno-nationalists. They're in favor of an ethno-state. They want Israel to be the home for the Jews. They want everyone else to not be ethno-nationalists because Jews don't fit into that equation. I don't know, it's been a while since I last saw Feynman's lectures. So you have an Italian and Japanese Nona and Obasa. Let me ask, who has the stronger heat squeeze? I don't know what that means. Oh, he's live? Nick live? Are we on Credo? He's not live yet. Unless I'm behind. And so the strong nuclear force is is a made-up number, just like dark matter. Different pronunciations. That's why it's theoretical physics. Different pronunciations of the same word completely change the meaning of the word. Oh yeah, vocal inflection too, of course. Of course, he values national pride over ethnic background. He's an Indian living in Canada. Yeah, that's gonna be that is a source of tension. Play the caucasity of gatekeeping the black man from the ox is the Wait, did you post some shit? What's your shit that you posted? Ox double standard against the Afro-Latino community is what my forefathers bought. What did you post? Did you post it here or something? Was this it? Oh, you did post it, okay. What the hell? I agree, but I'm talking more in realist terms. Hard for each nation modern to become all ethno-states. Yeah, a lot of it. I think there just needs to be a clear mutual understanding. Practically, like, yeah, you're not going to kick out all minorities. So and that's whether you want that or you don't want that, whether it's good or bad, it's highly unlikely anything like that's going to happen. But I don't think it's too much to demand of people living here that they adhere to the dominant culture and dominant behavior. which would be European, the sort of the underlying foundation of the country, that everybody adheres to it and respects it, and also respects the people that made that. We really, because obviously, like, you know, minorities can live here and we can get along and whatnot, but a big source of the problem is, one, it's the rate of immigration and how that's dispossessing the country from Europeans. That's one. But two, it's the inability or unwillingness to assimilate from a lot of people immigrating here. And so we're not gonna solve the problem of diversity if there is this unwillingness to assimilate, unwillingness to adhere to the European principles. So, because a lot of people come here and they've got a fucking chip on their shoulder, and they wag their finger at like Americans, saying, "Let me tell you about what an American is," like Vivek Ramaswamy. Or they complain about how white people, like, they have a bone to pick with Europeans because they call them colonists. It's like, that's not going to fucking work. There cannot be this clear animosity for, you know, the host population. That's not going to work. So, cheek squeeze. Oh, you suck at typing? What, like this? I don't think I ever got my cheek squeezed like that. Man, let me finish this. I just needed to think for a second. And I'll give you another valuable piece of knowledge. Yeah. I hate talking to supporters of Israel. Do you know why? It's not because of anti-Semitism. It's because no matter how much you try to show that Israel wasn't even a country before 1948, they will immediately start attacking. Dude, you don't even have to go back to 1948. Like, you just look at what they're doing today. How do you defend that? You can't. And part of it does probably have something to do with they want to accelerate the end times. And part of that belief, they want to galvanize the Jewish people. And so if the Jewish people are being attacked by everyone for what they're doing, then they'll feel more solidarity with one another. So that in the coming of the end times, when it's Israel versus the world, and, you know, they rebuild a third temple and they believe their Messiah will come, that they'll be united against the rest of the world. That's sort of the religious aspect. That's why that's one of the reasons why I think that they're so brazen about it. One, they know that the media will cover for them. But two, because let's be real here, they could have silently killed most of the Palestinian population with, like, poisoning in some way, shape, or form. There could have been an outbreak of a certain disease, or radiation poisoning, or they could have just poisoned the wells. But doing so in such a bombastic way, in such a overt and bombastic way, it's almost like it's provoking the rest of the world. They know that they would provoke the rest of the world, and I think that has something to do with their Talmudic prophecies. No fit shit on a mattress. Yeah, like, bro, what are we doing here? This is where he makes his music. I am glad I live in America, bro. I am glad the average Egyptian household, bro. You ever see, like, a picture of Cairo from above? Like, okay, these are all, like, very scenic, but look at that dense urban hell. Look at that shit. It's like Kowloon City, but an entire city. Like an entire, like that's fucking okay. But good one, Mello. That was retarded. It's like Kowloon City, you know. None of these are really quite depicting. Maybe Google Maps will do a better job. Like, dude, urban planning hell. It's, like, actually crazy, man. Anyway. Where's the tab? Well, even if you look at them today, they're antagonizing civilians for no reason. Do you believe their claims of self-defense against Hamas? Well, if Hamas is the problem, why are they attacking women and children? Yeah, it's indefensible, man. The rest of the world is against Israel. The poor in the Philippines have it really bad too. True. The Philippines, like, I think Indonesia might have them beat though. You ever see like the trash mountains people live in over there? It's fucking awful. People literally live in like dumps. It's the same propaganda that justified the occupation. Yeah, you know, it's they don't view non-Jews as humans. So it's a song you made? Oh, the next one? Okay. Better not be shit. Louise, if it's shit, I'm gonna let you know. The Philippines get hit with class 4 or 5 hurricanes every year. Yeah, that is true. That's a whole nother. Yeah, they should really just be making their buildings like brick shit houses out there, shouldn't they? Maybe they need the domes. You know, they need the bunker domes. Moment. Better not be shit. It is fire and you'll be blessed with knowledge. Okay. Oh, you got a lot of views on it. Look at you. Do you feel spiritually expanded? Do you like the song? It was okay. I don't know if I'd listen to it, like, I don't think it's like I'm gonna add it to that playlist or anything. I mean, but you know, it was an okay song. I feel like I'm playing like a JRPG or something. I feel like I'm going fast. I feel like I'm playing like some like racing game or something, you know? The crimes they commit, even criminals know it's a border crossing. You have to be deemed to kill civilians and children. Yeah, no, I mean, look, man. What Israel's doing is evil. And a lot of Talmudic Jews, they do worship the devil. That's not hyperbole. You gotta diversify your taste when it starts coming to, when you start talking to women. You got that shit ready. Mellow and his little Arabic baddie. Imagine, dude. All right, here comes the knowledge. Okay, here comes the knowledge. Yeah, I like this. This is like late night drive music, you know? I want to go fast. Huh. I like how Nick edited the Telegram tweet and got rid of the half part of half hour. He just crossed it out. That's pretty kick. This gives, I got 4 Zin in my mouth and I'm speeding to get my essay that's due in an hour. Yeah, I'm moving. We're moving. That's what we're moving. Also, although many think people who come from the moon are lunatics, they are in fact named Selenites. Although many people who come from the moon are lunatics, they are in fact named... Oh, I see what you're saying. Luna, like lunatic. Okay, I get you. Selenite. That's funny. Like lunar. If defending civilians is anti-Semitic, I want to be like that. Going fast on a late night drive right now and confirm that's the vibe. Let's go. How you typing though? Hey yo, who's driving the car though? Who's driving the car? Yeah, you need that in. Yeah, that was good. That was a good song. Oh, man. Yeah, you know, like, you just kind of have to be... They call you anti-Semitic. It's like, dude, their words have no power anymore. That's why they're moving the Jew hate. What's next? They're killing babies. They're starving civilians. And they laugh about it. You see some of these Israeli group chats. They're laughing at the horrors that are being committed. Pretty sick. The wish for more knowledge? Yeah, hit us with some more knowledge. Buddy in chat talking to ghosts. Hey, who? You know, it's a good song when that makes you want to hit a Zin. Is this your new theory, the Zin theory? Zin theory of intelligence? Zin probability theory? They're using crosses on churches as target practice. Yeah, dude, it's sick. You know, there's just so many clips of them just blatantly shooting obvious unarmed civilians, double tapping hospitals. I mean, it's like, look, they're just gloating about it. It's sick. It's egregious. It's indefensible. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. They don't give a shit. They hate you. They hate all of us. They do not care. So. If mellow is a tenor, then is kumquat a countertenor? Countertenor is higher than a tenor. Countertenor is it's like a male soprano almost. But yeah, I get the joke. Well, actually, well, even if you're a bad person, what happens there is unimaginable. It's so horrible. Yeah, it's hell on earth, man. The car has a fancy line departure stuff, so it basically drives itself. Nice. Well, keep your eyes on the road, buddy. Don't want to fucking die. That's not good. Or kill somebody. There's no theory, it's just an addict. Okay, well, at least you're honest. Like binary. Somehow I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be listening to. AC code and binary. Okay, what are the odds this guy is a organic chemistry tutor? Think this guy's Indian?
In this video, we're going to focus on the ASCII code. The ASCII code stands for...
Sounds white. Anyway. I'm just, you know, there's like a 50-50 chance that, like, any video you click on, like a tutorial or like educational video is going to have like a, when it comes to math or science, it's like a Indian or Chinese accent. Why is everything gonna be theories with you freaks? Stop thinking so hard. Look, Kumquat, you set the standard. You're the one. You're Mr. Theory guy. You're Mr. Theory man with your CBT theory. I guess you're not reaching the expectation. You're disappointing us. They even dare to call it self-defense? Yeah. Yeah, the chutzpah. You know, it's funny. Here's a knowledge for you, Louise. Does any other language in the world have an equivalent to the Jewish what is it, Hebrew, or is it I think it's Yiddish actually, the word chutzpah? As far as I can tell, there's no equivalent. But hold on, is that the BF3 Omen theme in your recommendations? It is. I'm glad you spot. It's actually BF2 because I was listening to it the other day. Okay, I'm glad you spotted that. Hang on. This shit slaps. This shit fucking slaps. Tell me this doesn't slap. I got my aviators on. You know. I got my shamag. I'm cruising down the fucking desert in a Jeep, you know. Tell me this shit doesn't slap. Yeah, chutzpah has a close synonym in Spanish. Word is brio. When did it originate? Do we have any idea? I'm curious. but I don't really have a strong synonym in any other language. Yeah, it's pretty, says a lot, huh? It's almost like chutzpah is something that's pretty unique to, Jewish people. Thing is, Semitic languages usually are the root. They tell civilians to evacuate the area, and then they are bombed. Is this considered self-defense? Nobel Peace Prize nominee Kumquat for studying ancient CVT techniques. Yeah. No, yeah, no, Railzer, you are preaching to the choir, man. You know, like in Rafah, they told all these civilians to exist, and then they drop incendiary bombs on them. What did I say? Exist? They told all the civilians to evacuate, and then they drop incendiary bombs on the refugee camps. It's horrific shit, man. I remember seeing the footage. It's very gruesome. Credo? All right, everyone. Nick is live. Everybody go watch Nick. Yeah, this song does slap. Opinion on Sneako's response on disassociating with Nick. Did he respond to Nick criticizing him for disassociating with him? Like, was there a response to that? I think Sneako's a bitch. I think Sneako's bitch made. You know, you gotta ride or die with your homies, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel music. Anyway. Going to be only America first. Okay. Alright, everyone, go watch Nick. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do my shilling real quick before I log off. Hit the bell notification. Know when I go live. Oh, I guess I should start plugging the Discord. I'll do that next time. Yeah. Share the stream with a friend. Leave a comment. What's your thoughts? Whatever. You know what to do. Anyway. Jaden over Sneeko. I don't know if I go that far. Let's go watch the Spurs and Nick's chat. Yeah. Can we watch you eating a sandwich while watching Nick's show? That's crazy work. I don't want to steal Nick's content, you know. That's bad form. But anyway, 07 everyone. If I a kumquat, yeah. Yeah, I'm punching air, dude. Like, the fact that kumquat has lore, that's some crazy work. All right, catch you guys all next time. Peace out.